Yo, 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 yo. What's up, what's up, what's up? Give up the rock. And hello to you, my fellow revolutionaries. You know who you are. And welcome to this Monday morning here in the wonderful land of Oz. I'm not sure where you are joining us from, but if you haven't reached Monday yet, let me just tell you the future is bright, and my heartfelt condolences to anyone that's out there starting their working week. I understand the clutches of capital can be intense, and I know the dread that comes with starting off that whole process of selling your labor power throughout the course of the working week. Cheese Swiss, hello, hello. Thanks for doing the roll call. It's nice to see you. Now, some of you are probably wondering what the hell is going on today? What type of rabbit hole are we going down? And the answer to that is a rather interesting one. I don't usually go there, it's not my cup of tea. However, we are going to be investigating what I think is potentially a rather interesting example of how the capitalist machine works in the 21st century through hyper consumerism and the advent of the information age and social media culture coming together, clashing together, and producing what I think is potentially one of the most insane examples of the Marxist idea of commodity fetishism. So this idea that the value that a product has is something mystical almost that comes from the sensationalism surrounding the product as opposed to it actually having any intrinsic value of its own, having any real material value. In a hyper consumer economy, it is just commodity for the sake of commodity as opposed to it actually having its own value and necessity for you. And we're going to be speaking about Logan Paul and KSI. They released a drink called Prime a couple of years ago, which was supposedly going to take the entire energy drink market on a global scale. It was going to take it by storm and was going to destroy all of the competition. So they promised. But it would seem that that is completely falling off now. So I was actually encouraged. Squeep, hello, nice to see you. And in the stream chat, we have none other than Avalava. The future is so bright and capital remains dreadful. Well, it's funny that you say that because, yeah, we are really going to be looking at one of the more dreadful faces of how the consumer economy works, how, yeah, hyper consumer capitalism rears its strange head in the world now that is dominated by influencers and thought leaders and people that exist online. Weirdos. Anyway, we're going to be looking at the promise of this Prime energy drink and how it really absolutely has failed to deliver. But why? Why has it failed to deliver? There was so much intense marketing behind it, so much capital fronted behind this product. It was available for everyone to see. You couldn't walk into a shop, you couldn't walk into a servo, a gas station without, seeing this product everywhere. It was rivaling the greatest. Your Gatorades of the world, your Red Bulls and V's of the world. It was up there pushing into that market, which is a massive, massive market. Like young people, especially, I would say people under 30, like they absolutely spend so much on consuming energy drinks, which are incredibly questionable in terms of one, their usefulness, and two, the implications that they have on people's health. And they categorize themselves, and they like to market themselves as, health drinks. They're for health and fitness and sport and performance. And here we are going to be looking at a product that has actually come under a bit of scrutiny for other reasons too, in terms of class actions about whether or not they've been fully disclosing the types of chemicals that go into this product. But primarily, I want to look at this from a very weird but incredible example of this. Yeah, like I said before, this Marxist idea of commodity fetishism. It's potentially one of the best you'll get. I'll try to make it through the whole stream, but the Paul brothers are insufferable humans. They are insufferable humans. There's no argument there, and we're actually going to see how far this type of insufferable behavior can extend itself on a market economy and what type of influence that can have on a commodity market. Capitalism is itself about the exchange of commodities, the production of commodities, whereas other modes of production have been about the production of use values, let's say. So you had, peasants making food that society lived off, or you had industries and guilds that produced the products that everybody used to exist. But now people only produce stuff for sale, and so they don't particularly, and this is going to be a running theme today, so let's just keep that in your mind. They don't particularly produce stuff for the use that comes out of that item. It's not really to be used by someone. It's not because this is the best energy drink or this is the best hydration liquid that your body can consume. No, this is what Logan Paul said and KSI said was sick. And so, like, you don't want to miss out, do you? Hey, you got a bit of FOMO? Don't miss out on Prime. And let's see how far you can draw the fetishization element there. So the mysticism behind the commodity, or actually it's not behind the screen that holds up the commodity, how far you can draw that out extremely, how far you can stretch that to basically turn a profit. So we're going to have a look at that today. Have our global audiences tried Mother? Internet historian was best sales agent. Yeah, never watched Paul, but it's just modern Tamagotchi marketing, i.e. get the kiddies to sell the product. I want the holo Charizard. Yeah, it is much like that, actually, because it would seem that these type of influencers, your Jake Pauls and your Logan Pauls, your Mr. Beasts, definitely your KSIs, they prey on young people, on very young and impressionable people that will spend the little incomes they can, maybe their pocket money, maybe they have a job on the weekend, I don't know if kids still do that sort of stuff. Maybe they don't. Actually, newspapers don't exist anymore. Some people used to just ride around throwing newspapers at people's front doors, but I guess that doesn't happen now. But, they might have a side hustle of some sort, and their money goes into buying crap, buying energy drinks because it's fashionable. It's actually status. It's a status symbol. I think we're going to get to that in terms of commodity fetishism and like what happens, what goes down in a capitalistic market. So let's have a look at Prime and like the story behind Prime. First of all, just to kind of set the tone for today's stream. I know it's going to be difficult, but I really do think this is an absolutely incredible case study in all of this. But first of all, let's ask our research assistant a couple of questions. Hello, I'm doing a stream at the moment and we are considering the idea of commodity fetishism. Could you very briefly and simply break down this concept for us? Thank you. I think this will be important as we go through and watch videos and stuff. Sure, in simplest terms, commodity fetishism is when we treat goods, so commodities, as if their value comes from things themselves instead of the human labor that produced them. In capitalism, social relationships between people like worker and capitalist get hidden and replaced by relationships between things, like my phone versus your phone. Instead of seeing a shirt as hours of someone's work with cloth, we just see it as a $50 t-shirt, as if the price and the value were natural properties of the item itself. It's basically things seem to have value on their own, but really it's people's labor that gives them value, and capitalism hides that fact. I think that's a pretty good summation of the topic, to be honest. And that is something that I think is lost in the discussion of this type of element of a critique of capitalism, is that people kind of miss this understanding that the value in the commodities that we have and we exchange, all the things that you buy around you, the value that comes from things is the fact that they're pulled together from supply chains all over the world. People have made those items that come together and are assembled and put together by a particular person, arranged by someone, made by someone, and then they're shipped off to some type of logistics company, and they hire more laborers to ship that stuff around the world, and then retailers, spend money on laborers to stack shelves and to move these products around. And so the reason that you have stuff in front of you is a result of all of these social relations, all these people coming together to make that product appear before your eyes in the shops or on an online retailer, so you can then have it. And you think that the value of that object is valuable because of the price tag on it. It's $50. But like, why is it $50? And like, why would you pay $50 for it? Is it because there's something in that commodity you think that is worth $50? Maybe the cloth's worth like $10. Maybe the labor cost $2, so it's really $12. But you're willing to pay $50 for it. Maybe because, hey, it's got a Nike logo on it. Hey, maybe it's got some type of brand that you're really hot on right now. And so you think, hey, this thing is worth $50. It's got a price on it, and that is justifiable because I really like this item itself. And so the value is mystified. It is this idea of fetishism has got nothing to do with what we use it for in a modern sense, about like having a peculiar interest in something and that giving you some form of sexual gratification. That's a fetish, and that's one form of a fetish, and that's how we think of these things. But fetishization used to be about, or fetishism used to be about this idea that some things, innate objects, have magical properties. And so this is the magic of the very highly developed capitalist economy that we have now going for us. You can buy a shirt that really cost a designer clothes company, $10 to make, but they'll sell it to you for $200 because, it's a designer shirt, and you'll pay for it because you're like, whoa, it's designer, it's exclusive, and I want to get my hands on it. So let's have a look. Yeah, the stream's gone to weird fetish places, but it's an important concept. Don't get me wrong. And so this whole hype, this whole idea, this mystical relationship that we have with products is built up. It's a construct. It's a complete construct. And I would say in a very hyper capitalistic and consumer society, it is a construct of well-placed marketing campaigns. And from the time that we're tiny little children to when we are fully independent consumers as adults, arguably, maybe even before that, whether we actually have disposable incomes or if we live off debt and we just put everything on the credit card, that doesn't really matter. We are conditioned to be consumers. And I think the fetishization, commodity fetishism is one of the ways that capitalism goes round, baby. If you don't have people willing to spend for reasons that are detached from real value out there, then you can't really push commodities very well, because if people just buy because something's useful to them, then they might just buy once and never really buy ever again until they have to. But commodities don't work like that, especially in a a heavy consumer society. You need people constantly wanting to buy stuff like over and over again. So anyway, we'll let's nail this down with this very specific example. Larp Jeff, brother, how you going? It's good to see you. Lines wrapped around the block to wait for the latest Supreme drop. See, this is a form, like the mysticism around it is more important than the item itself, right? It's weird. Actually, it's not weird. Like, most of us just see this and it's like, yeah, it's how it is. It's marketing. But like, is it marketing? Just marketing by itself? Or is there an element there that has been drawn out around the way that capitalism needs to survive in terms of how it produces things? Again, it's not producing things for their utility. It's being built. Things are being produced because they need to be sold. And if things need to be sold, the primary reason that you have stuff is because you were able to obtain them, because you could afford to. And then that sets up social relations between people, because things become social symbols of social status. It's symbology over utility, which is an incredible way to structure a society on things that like give you status, as opposed to crafting status of your own. It's a bit of a pyramid scheme kind of way to approach the situation, which can be built on pretty shaky foundations, if you ask me, as we will explore with this very particular example. This is a very, very particular example. Subscriptions versus buying capital is a separate topic, though. Apple isn't subscription business, but showcases how you can change people to think of commodities as disposable. Interesting. Very interesting. I have no authority on the topic, but remember caps and keeping labels on. Same about value is showing the brand, the spend, the name you wear. That's right. Watching the marketers on Gruen Transfer talk about creating campaigns for products and preying on consumers' insecurities is insightful, to say the least, especially in this conversation. Bloody oath, it is insightful. And it's really predatory. It's so incredibly scary too, how well they know the inclinations of the human mind and our tendencies as a herd animal as well. It's really scary, actually. 4IS, yo. What's up? Let's see where he's going with that. I'm interested. Avalava, I think the recent videos by Chinese manufacturers showing off luxury goods for sale at absurdly low prices was a perception-breaking event. Every time I go shopping for goods now, I can't help but think of these items are worth much less than they are being sold for. Yes, the complete detachment from real value, material value, however you define that, okay? Because I don't think the jury's out on that one. People don't like the Marxist interpretation of value, but what's the real value of something versus what people are willing to pay for it because they have been conditioned? So that's a real pertinent question. Give up Logan Paul's professional wrestling career. Obviously, 4AS is not a big fan of Logan either. And especially when it comes to defaming or besmirching the good reputation of the wrestling industry, right? Am I right? Temu model is different view to a perceived value. Oh yeah, it's going straight to the source and cutting out all the middlemen. That's for sure. Temu, let's go straight to China. Hey, let's do that. All right, let's have a quick look at like what I'm actually talking about. If you're not across this saga at all, let's get some background, some context to it, and then we can explore the concepts and the ramifications of it a little bit more, if you know what I mean.
With kids is This morning, there's a new warning for parents and kids about energy drinks. Maybe you've seen Prime Energy on social media.
Drink is getting so much negative attention, schools are actually banning it.
An influencer popular with kids is under the magnifying glass. The FDA is being asked to investigate an energy drink owned by YouTuber and boxer Logan Paul.
Just 12 ounces. It has an Prime has an eye-popping level of caffeine. And that's giving parents and doctors the jitters.
Logan Paul is now quietly shrinking
What does it say?
along with his
Still profitable. Something no one buying. Over 90% prompting a company-wide review of the commercial strategy.
fake energy drink.
Jitters.
Logan Paul is now
Earnings
quietly
dropped
shrinking
90%.
along with his fake energy drink, Prime Hydration. After all the hype, the market is crashing hard every single day, and the
Which has the caffeine of 6 Coke cans. Are you serious? FDA asked to investigate Paul's energy drink Prime, which has the caffeine of 6 Coke cans. Oh my God.
product is getting rejected almost everywhere. You might remember that in early 2023, Prime made headlines for
Prime Hydration surpassed Gatorade to become the most sold hydration beverage at Walmart in 2023, selling 1 billion bottles as of November. Same year. This indicates a significant market share gain over its main competitors such as Gatorade. In late 2022 and early 2023, Prime prompted the sort of demand normally reserved for Travis Scott concert tickets or toilet roll in 2020. That's pretty funny.
selling over 1 billion bottles, even outselling Gatorade in certain stores and generating over $250 million in global retail sales.
We are flying. I don't know if you want to say the numbers.
You want the numbers?
Yeah, we want the numbers.
What are we dealing with here? All right. We cleared $110 million in retail sales.
But fast forward to today, numbers are dropping fast. Prime's profits have sunk lower than half of what
So it's 2024 first quarter sales of 12.8 million pounds are less than the rest of the 26.8 million worth of sales it made in the previous year. Interesting.
they once were, with a decline of more than $60 million reported across various markets. And here's the reality. Prime isn't making any real profit anymore. In a desperate attempt to keep the hype alive, Logan Paul and KSI tried attaching Prime to major brands like WWE, Arsenal, and the UFC, but let's be real, that didn't work either. The brand sponsorships feel forced and are failing to revive the product's reputation. Compare that to something like Body Armor, a brand once backed by Kobe Bryant and now manufactured by Coca-Cola.
Big opportunity for Body Armor because they're now going to be within the Coca-Cola bottling system. It's a 1-2 punch from Coke at Pepsi and at Keurig Dr. Pepper.
Body Armor grew steadily, gained trust, and was eventually bought out because of real consumer demand. Prime, it's getting banned from
real consumer demand. Remember that. Neoclassical kind of Marxist rhetoric there, real consumer demand, like they actually care about what it actually means. But, there's an example, apparently, with Body Armor. I've never used or heard of Body Armor before or drunk it, but there's the competitor, and it actually has a base of real demand in the economy, which is interesting if you think about it. Logan is selling buy this and showcase what you spent. Timo is showcase of how much stuff you can have, quantity. Interesting. Don't think it's fake. It's nothing but energy. How could people think it's fake? Hard pivot time. Prime Munchables time.
schools, criticized by health experts, and slammed by parents for misleading marketing and dangerous caffeine levels. So in today's video, we're breaking down exactly why Prime is crashing, what led to this downfall, how Logan and KSI may have overplayed their hand, and whether there's any real chance for Prime to bounce back. Or is this the beginning of the end for Logan Paul's business empire?
Dun dun dun.
As you might know, when Logan Paul and KSI...
I don't know if you guys know much about these two. I don't. I'm not a big fan of either of them. All I know is they are influencers who are also boxers, and one of them's a rapper too. So they do it all. They got millions of subscribers, though. Millions of subscribers. And yes, usually around mostly young people, young men too, let's be honest. And so they've got, as influencers, they do have a lot of clout. And, if they tell their audiences to do something, then they are going to do it. Now, this is a very, very interesting way to push products in a consumer market, in a consumer economy, which is fair enough. You don't need marketing agencies exactly. You don't need traditional capitalist tactics exactly. If you've got access to a base with millions of eyeballs already, you can push products through your own personal image, which is exactly like branding. It's exactly like branding. But these gentlemen, to use the word loosely, have been able to whip up, as the article they just showed demonstrated, they've been able to whip up enough attention around this product to challenge Gatorade. Now, that's a big call, man. Gatorade is like the Coke of sports drinks. It is your mainstay. It is your go-to. In Australia, we call it Powerade. You know, it is the backbone of that type of hydration / performance drink industry. And for them to like knock them off the post in their first year, it's a big call. But is that a result of anything else but the personal social capital, if I may, which I don't like that term. I think it's used out of context, but the personal and social capital of two influencers that just have a lot of young people that again, if they say something like jump, they'll all just say how high, as opposed to actually having a connection with this thing here, this drink, this thing called Prime. Do they give a about Prime? Probably not. But like, KSI said it. So did Logan. So like, let's do it, man. Let's do it. And this is the mystification, the fetishization in a very interesting dynamic. It's actually completely detached now from the commodity. Think about that. It's not even about the commodity. That is a thing in this equation. But like, people don't care about this. They only care about these two. And so like, this is some, like, if commodity fetishization is about the detachment of the commodity from its reality, this is the detachment of reality again. This is a detachment of a detachment. This is like Inception commodity fetishism. It's crazy. The F word is very appropriate here. It is, actually. It is.
SI realized they couldn't keep up with the market anymore. It was already too late. At the peak of Prime's popularity, they rushed into multiple large-scale manufacturing deals all at once to grow as fast as possible. Maybe too fast. But soon after, they realized they couldn't meet the demand they had promised. One major manufacturer, Refresco, ended up suing Prime.
So Refresco files lawsuit, allegedly Prime maker Congo Brands backed out of production deal. All right, let's fact check this guy, who's making these wild claims here. Let's have a look. Let's go to our research assistant, shall we? Yes. I don't know if you can see that. I hate when it does that. No, you can see that. Okay, good. All right, let's ask our research assistant. We are currently looking at Logan Paul and KSI's Prime hydration drink saga and how sales have dropped off significantly in the first 2 years of the existence of this highly sought after product. And I would like to get an understanding of a particular case between Fresco. It was Refresco, actually. and Logan Paul. Are you able to provide a brief explanation of the issue there? Refresco, the manufacturer contracted to bottle Prime Hydration, is suing Prime Congo brands for about 67 million to 68 million, citing breach of contract. The deal struck in April 2023 required Prime to purchase at least 18.5 million 12-pack cases per year for 3 years, about 55.5 million cases in total. Refresco spent heavily to build a dedicated production line in Missouri. That's interesting. On home soil. How good's that? Hey? Bringing it back for the working class. What for Prime's uniquely sized bottles. After completing setup and testing by early 2024, Prime allegedly did not place orders or proceed with production. They argue Prime's failure to fulfill the minimum purchase commitment triggered financial damages, hence the lawsuit. Prime's bottler invested big in gear to mass produce its custom bottles, but when demand cooled and buzz fizzled, Prime allegedly cancelled without honouring the volume guarantee. Refresco is now suing for nearly 68 million to recoup its losses. That's interesting, isn't it? Hey, they lost a bit of steam? What? No, that's impossible. Let's go back to it.
For $67 million, claiming that Prime backed out of their agreement. That's a huge red flag. It shows that Prime wasn't able to follow through on its own business decisions, and now they're facing serious consequences. So in many ways, Prime ended up destroying itself. When a brand starts burning bridges with manufacturers, the question becomes, what happens when no one wants to produce your product anymore? Without partners, your entire business falls apart.
Let's see if that's true. Has this had any effect on any other manufacturers in terms of Congo brands deals to produce Prime Hydration? And what was the drop in sales from 2023 to 2024 that led to Congo brands not honoring its minimum purchase commitment? Let's see how fast it is. Now, what I'm trying to build up here, okay, is an understanding of this detachment in reality here. That you have these two people that, like I said before, the fetishization of the fetishization, it's not even about the product. It's about just Logan Paul and KSI are selling some shit, so go and buy it. Like, no one actually cares about the product. And so, like, this is an actual step-by-step kind of case study in what is going on in this weird hyper-consumer society that we live in, where these people are just like, go and buy my shit, like, kind of thing, and they like aggressively market it through their social media influence, which is like, you know, arguably we've heard discussions about the idea that social media is the dictatorship of the proletariat in media format. And so, like, if you have these people that are like, I'm not going to call them working class, but, like, you know, they are socialized individuals integrated into a large and broad, all-encompassing social network, and they can use their influence to push products, but it's just them. It's just them. You can start to see the detachment in the actual capitalist system because the commodities themselves are fucking meaningless. And these douchebags get, like, you know, come together and it's like, yeah, let's just sell some drinks and beat up Gatorade kind of thing. Like a furnished and accomplished capitalist. Okay, I'm assuming Gatorade is probably owned by Coke as well, and so, like, we're talking about like the creme de la creme of the capitalists in, you know, in drink production, and these guys just come in and blindside the industry, and then it falls over. This is where there is absolutely no link to the real world, and capitalism tends in this direction, like complete separation of the commodity from its actual material basis in anything. Gatorade and Powerade are actually different brands. RC Gatorade gained popularity because the Florida Gators college football team apparently used it. Oh, well. There you go. Thank you very much for the clarifier here. I don't need a research assistant when I have the chat on point like that. Thank you very much. Should sell the brand. Move on to the next thing. Greedy to think the Paul brothers are business people rather than savvy personalities that can push a product. And here we are in the age of social media, challenging the largest capitalists themselves. But obviously there's no substance behind it. There's no public evidence that Refresco Congo Brands lawsuit has directly impacted or altered production agreements with other manufacturers, while Refresco invested heavily in a dedicated Prime production line, which went unused. There have been no reports of other suppliers being affected or backing out. No alternative contracts. Okay, fine. Not from what you can find. Research assistant. Prime sales plummeted significantly, both in the UK and the US. UK revenue tumbled from 120 to 130 million pounds in 2023 to 33. Fuck, that is a big loss. 70% drop. US, in the first half of 2024, US sales were down 40% compared to the same period in 2023. This is a steep decline in sales. Undermined Congo Brands' ability or willingness to meet contract commitment to purchase a minimum volume. Interesting. Okay. Don't think capitalism alone tends to overpay. What do you mean by that? I would like to know more, please.
Meanwhile, Logan Paul and KSI kept pushing Prime by disrespecting other established brands like Gatorade, trying to make them look outdated just to hype up their own product. But this strategy backfired. Instead of building something original and respected, they made themselves look petty and unprofessional. To keep the hype going, they even collaborated with Mr. Beast to launch new products, but once again, they copied existing ideas, like mimicking Lunchables.
Start off with the Lunchables.
Bro, I'm sorry, that's trash. All right, now we're trying Lunchly. Come on. We're not biased at all, but ours is way better.
The hydration beverages that are on the market right now are like either A, not good for you, B, taste like shit, or C, are archaic as fuck. Gatorade's been around for 15 years, has 120 calories. It's so high in sugar, it's fucking garbage.
Fuck Gatorade! Fuck Gatorade! Fuck Gatorade!
But when the dust finally settles...
That, man, that's mental. Honestly, you said fetish purchasing was capitalism related. Well, it kind of is. Like, in the sense that nobody makes commodities like the capitalist mode of production does. Logan Paul is the American Corey Worthington, honestly. Yeah, he is. He is. That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. But, like, you know, a classic Australian Corey Worthington, completely useless in terms of his monetary value, right? Let's have a look at Corey Worthington. That's a name from back in the day for you. So that dates you, mate. Oh, let's see. Yeah, there we go. There he is. Corey. Hey, what a sick dog, bro. Look at these guys. Look at what they're wearing. That takes you back. Hey, Corey, you sick dog. Infamous 2008 house party. Man, imagine if social media was bigger. Hey, back then. Gotta drop. We'll join later. Sweet. Thanks for your contributions. See you soon. Corey Worthington. What a legend. Australian urban legends right there. Nailed it.
The truth always comes out. And the truth is, real brands survive, fake hype doesn't. That's exactly why Gatorade and Body Armor are still standing strong in the market, while Prime is getting rejected everywhere. Think about it. While Prime's own manufacturing partner is suing them, Coca-Cola is out here bidding to fully acquire and manufacture Body Armor, the brand once backed by Kobe Bryant. And the most shocking part, Coca-Cola didn't rush. They waited 9 years, yes, 9 full years, just to see whether Body Armor could actually prove itself in the market before stepping in.
In 2025, we want to be the #1 sports drink, right? That means we got to roll up our sleeves.
So who owns Gatorade then? Let's ask my research assistant. What parent company owns Gatorade? PepsiCo. Ah, interesting. PepsiCo. Interesting.
And we got to get after it, and we got to make sure that the market, we got to make sure other athletes understand that there's a better for you option out there.
When we had a vision to create a better for you sport drink than Gatorade, and a lot of entrepreneurs, Sarah, don't talk about the Bible years. You know, the first 5 years of the company where Coke made the investment in 2018, and
So actually, the real question is, why did Body Armor succeed in the market while Prime couldn't? After all the aggressive and false attacks to harm other products, Prime still failed to hold its ground. The truth is, Prime doesn't even fully understand why it exists in the market. Sometimes Logan Paul says their product is for athletes, other times they say it's for kids. They can't even clearly communicate their actual intention. Even experts are raising concerns about Prime's ingredients, which is damaging the brand further. In one video, Derek from More Plates, More Dates exposed how Logan Paul is confusing and fooling people with Prime's different products and marketing tactics.
Liquid IV with 11 grams of sugar compared to Prime's 2 grams. Liquid IV has 870 milligrams of electrolytes, and the Prime stick has 871 milligrams of electrolytes. And
Now it's intentional. Look, we're this much better by 1 milligram. This is not the same stratification of electrolytes. So when he lumps them together as if it is an electrolyte is an electrolyte, it's like, do you know the composition of sweat that even comes out of your fucking face when you're exercising, bro? I don't think so. I think you think that this is all the same. And for you to go at Liquid IV, ready to like chop their head off when you don't even know what the difference is and why it would be useful to maybe have some sodium in there, is actually kind of laughable, to be honest.
And also, the point is that Prime isn't just failing as a business, it's potentially harming people, especially children. With its fake sugars and questionable ingredients, health experts are concerned about the effects it could have on young consumers. That's exactly why schools across the world are starting to ban Prime, and awareness campaigns are now being launched to warn children and parents about its risks.
School families we talked to said the craze sparked a secondhand market in some schools, with students reselling single bottles for a profit.
Maybe young children might feel like, because it's colourful, you know, it's bright, they might think, oh yeah, that looks so cool.
I just think it's because famous people are like...
Yeah, the influencers.
Yeah, like influencing it, and like everyone believes them.
And that's how Logan Paul created fake hype using his influencer image to push Prime into the market. They didn't build the brand based on quality, they built it around their fame, hoping people would buy it just because of their name. Their goal was simple: make Prime look like a trustworthy brand so they could collect as much profit as possible. But the truth is, if people knew everything from the start, Prime wouldn't have gotten this far. Now, things are different. People are waking up. It's no longer confusing. Consumers are becoming more aware, and they're starting to realize what the shady product really is. Even doctors and health professionals are now exposing Prime, breaking down how it can be harmful to the body and how the brand tries to hide the real sugar content while falsely labeling some products as zero sugar.
Flavors such as Tropical Punch have zero added sugars but use calorie-free sweeteners instead. This is in the form of number E955.
What the fuck is that? You know, I heard some health expert once say that if you can't read what's on the label, then you probably shouldn't touch it. Like, you know, when you see those like ridiculously long like names that come out of some chemistry textbook somewhere. I think this video may be AI narrated. Yes, it's kind of monotonous in the tone, and they keep on reusing like similar footage. Like Kobe's face came up a few times, exact same shot of him, and there were a couple of other things that happened. I think you're right. I think this may be an AI channel as well. It's called Mist. We should like name and shame Keep a document of all the AI generated channels out there. Start to name and shame them. They're stealing jobs from real people. Powerade is made by the Coca-Cola company. It was developed by Coca-Cola in 1988 as a competitor to Gatorade, another popular sports drink. The brand is now managed under Body Armor Sports Nutrition. Interesting. There we go. I just thought they were the same thing. They're just different branded. Kind of like Burger King and Hungry Jack's in Australia. I thought they were different brands for different markets, different names and all that sort of stuff. That's interesting. All right, let's E955. What's that? Sucralose. E955. Hey, it's got to be good for you. It's called E955. Hey, let's have a look at that. Don't worry about sugar. That shit comes out of the ground. E955. What is it? E955. Sucralose, was it? Sucralose. Got it. Sucralose. Whoa, that's mental. How do they measure that? It's E955 sucralose is an artificial sweetener used to replace sugar in food and drinks. It's about 600 times sweeter than sugar. How do you judge that? Like, damn, 600 times. Essentially 0 calorie because the body doesn't break most of it down for energy. What does that mean? So what does it do with it then? Just passes it, hopefully. Source, made by chemically modified regular sugar, sucrose, so the body can't metabolize it in the same way. Found in diet sodas, protein powders, sugar-free snacks, chewing gum, and zero or light drinks, like some versions of Prime Hydration. Approved by the FDA, the FSA, and other food safety agencies, though some studies have suggested possible gut microbiome and metabolic effects when consumed in high amounts over long periods. So it's generally safe within recommended limits. So these capitalistic institutions out there making sure that they can continue pushing products, as long as it's within safe limits, it's reasonable, but not totally controversy free. Interesting.
Known as sucralose. If children get used to other types of sweet drinks, they may end up choosing them over water, which can be an issue for both their dental health and overall well-being, Signis van Vel at Lifesum said. In general, parents should encourage their children to choose water as their main option for hydration.
And now, even the government is starting to take action. Officials are becoming more concerned about the issue, and that's one of the key reasons why Prime...
See, we looked at this before. Remember? It came up with this. It's like recycling imagery. I think you're right. Abalaba. They're recycling images here. This is AI generated. But still, it's such valuable information.
Is collapsing so quickly. Most notably, a New York senator recently raised concerns about Prime, urging the FDA to launch an investigation into the drink's ingredients and marketing practices.
This morning, New York Senator Chuck Schumer is calling on the FDA to investigate the energy drink Prime.
One of the summer's hottest status symbols for kids is not an outfit, it's not a toy. It's a beverage.
So right now, Prime is collapsing faster than anyone expected, and ironically, it's collapsing in the same aggressive way it once attacked other brands in the market. But while those other brands stayed strong, Prime is the one falling apart. It's quickly becoming a toxic product, and if this trend continues, it's not far-fetched to believe Prime could disappear completely from the market. And when that happens, it won't just be the drink that suffers. Logan Paul and KSI could also go down.
That looked like a...
From the market. And when that happens, it won't just be the drink.
Is it? Prime on the shelves, clearance at Woolies? Looks like it.
That suffers. Logan Paul and KSI could also go down with it. They built this brand on their faces, their influence, and their hype. So if the brand fails, their credibility and business reputations take a massive hit too. So the real question is it just Prime that's collapsing? Or will Logan Paul and KSI be destroyed with it? What do you think?
I don't know, man. What do you think? Hey? I don't know, man. I'm not buying it. Interesting. So there's the long and the short of it for you, ladies and gentlemen. I will leave it to you now to make your own assessment on that. No frills Corey Worthington is going to go down. Say it ain't so. I think Corey Worthington is the no frills version of this in this situation though, because like Logan Paul, he's a fucking multi-millionaire, and you know, for all intents and purposes, he was going to use that to further his capitalistic endeavors. I've heard him say himself in clips that his aspiration, so you know, some people have dreams, broken dreams and no ice creams, but his dreams are literally to be a multi-billionaire. Like, that's it. He wants to be a billionaire. That's what he wants to be. And so like this endeavor is really just a cash cow endeavor for him. And like, that's it. Like, there's nothing more deep or considered about this approach. He's literally using this as some style, some way of extracting wealth out of vulnerable children around the world, or young people that love his brand and his image. That's really as far as it goes. That's all he wants. He needs an avenue to become a billionaire and join the ranks of the bourgeoisie. In this age of capitalism, or this development, this iteration of it, in a world that is now experienced 50 years of the hyper-financialization of capital, and there's just so much money out there. It's not an issue. Like, the fiat currency has changed the game. There's no money isn't tied to the gold standard anymore. All that sort of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's no limitation on how much money is out there. So if you want to become the bourgeoisie now, you want to be the top of the social ladder in the capitalistic enterprise and system, you need to be a billionaire. So basically his admission is, okay, I might be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but that's not enough because I want to be a billionaire. And this was his ploy to do that. And so he did a lot of stuff, a lot of very questionable things to make that happen, and you know, things that would make regular people pretty upset in terms of how aggressive they were with their behavior on this one. You saw them literally getting crowds of young people to shout out, you know, Gatorade, you know, it's archaic, it's old, but we're new and fresh, me and my boxing buddy over here, and we're going to change the game. And it was all sold on their image. This is the next layer of fetishization that we are seeing in our world today. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, Pepsi were one of the pioneers of this back in the day. They got Michael Jackson to push one of that. They paid Michael Jackson in like the 80s, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. Like, if you adjust for inflation and with CPI, but like, they paid Michael Jackson like $20 million to promote Pepsi. And there was a big ad campaign, you know, with like him doing the moonwalk and all that sort of stuff. But like Michael Jackson, Pepsi knew, and its marketing team knew, that if you want to push a product, then you associate your product with somebody else's feelings attached to something, right? So people had great feelings when they listened to Michael Jackson's music. And so if Pepsi could just associate itself with like people's feelings when they get in pleasure out of listening to Michael Jackson's music, they will be able to capitalize on that. And so they paid MJ like $20 million in the 80s just to be in an ad with Pepsi. And what was funny about it was Michael Jackson was like, I don't drink Pepsi, I don't touch that shit, it's gross. And he's like, and I'm not touching a Pepsi can, so don't even ask. So they paid him $20 million to appear on a Pepsi ad, and he was just like, I ain't touching that stuff, like I'm not going to drink it, so don't ask me, I don't want to do any of those like moments in the ad, and I'm not even touching the can. Like, that's how much they just wanted his brand to push their product. But it was an established product. People obviously like Pepsi. They had their supply chains set up, and they had the ability to manufacture this commodity. People wanted the commodity, but what they wanted to do was reassociate or pull from some of the drag that, like, pull on some of the extra credit that comes with the notoriety of MJ to reignite the imaginations of consumers everywhere about their adoration for drinking some Pepsi. You know, when you're having a great time and you're listening to some music, why not associate that with Pepsi? But like what these guys have done, our friends, KSI and Paul over here, of old Logan, what they've done is nothing short of done that Pepsi shenanigan without the Pepsi part and just the Michael Jackson. And then they've gotten Michael Jackson out there and he's moonwalked across the stage. And then right at the end, they're just like, Prime, like kind of thing. And they've just shown a picture of the product. And people are like, yeah, I like Michael Jackson. Like, maybe I'll try Prime, like kind of thing. And so like people killed themselves in the marketplace to try and get access to Prime because of the notoriety of the people that were associated with it. And then that was it. They tried it and they were like, you could take it or leave it. 2 years later, even though it's like being pumped into the market, nobody wants to touch it. It is a very interesting example of the detached environment of capitalistic production. Like most capitalists, like your Pepsis and your Cokes and stuff, who were established, you know, decades and decades ago. When it comes to like Coke, you know, that's a product of the American Civil War. They have been refining their product and like playing capitalistic games for a century or more. Like Coke was even so good at capitalism and its games in the capitalistic mode of production that it figured out a way to get stuff into Nazi Germany when Coke was kind of, you know, had to play behind the scenes a little bit to make sure that it could still get into the Nazi market, even though it wasn't really supposed to be there. And so that's what Fanta is, apparently. Fanta, as an offshoot of the Coke Corporation, was the arm of the Coke enterprise that was allowed to do business with the Nazis, if you know what I mean, where like, you know, you really shouldn't have been going there if like unnecessarily. And so these capitalists knew how to make commodities that were desirable in the marketplace, as well as being able to be pushed through clever fetishization. So clever marketing campaigns to instill in the hearts of minds of the consumer base that they need this product, right? It's, you don't want to be without this product. But like, it would seem that good old Logan, good old KSI here have like completely missed the idea that in order to get the profit, you still need to have a commodity that's worthy of the consumption. The consumption isn't the fact that because you're an influencer with 20 million subscribers, that you can just tell people to buy shit and they will continue to buy shit, and they will do that over something like Gatorade or Body Armor, whatever that is. They've completely missed the concept of capitalistic production. And like, they're not alone in this. They would have had teams of people helping them, investors. They were contracting out to huge manufacturers. These manufacturers understand this too. They would have done their risk assessments on this stuff. And like, everybody's missed the fact that these people didn't have an actual product to sell anyone. They just had their brand recognition or their personal influence. And so like, talk about commodity fetishization or fetishism from a Marxist standpoint. This is next level. Like, it's the commodity itself doesn't even matter. It's a strange world that we live in. Imagine, like, you know, back in the day and during the rise of Fordism and all that sort of period there. Imagine the audacity of someone like Ford being like, don't worry about the car. Just buy it because Ford says so, kind of thing. And Americans and people in the general consumers out there were just like, yeah, it'll just whatever he makes, I'll just buy it, like kind of thing. And does it even have wheels? Don't worry about it. It's a Ford. Like people wouldn't have put up with that sort of stuff, and like no capitalist would have been dumb enough to try and push a product that had absolutely no market demand. Remember, we talked about like making sure that word is like in your kind of mind's eye as we go through this very interesting example of what's going on in this like weird 21st century capitalistic production world that we live in. Like the production itself is becoming almost irrelevant. And so like these manufacturers, like what were they doing? They must have done some type of risk assessment on this. And they were happy to, sign a contract for a product that like had a little peak for a year. And they were like, yeah, we'll supply you, kind of thing. We'll set up operations to manufacture millions and millions of these bottles for your product. And like you just promise to buy a minimum amount of that. Like, if they didn't do their risk assessment, I'm all for the lawsuit and stuff like that. Go after the bastards if you want damages to cover the cost of your damages. But you must have done some research. Like, how stupid are you as capitalists to go into this endeavor without any solid understanding that like the market actually wants this product? Doesn't that just show you how detached this form of production is becoming from reality? That like not even the capitalists really even care if there is a market for this stuff. We'll just manipulate people into knowing that they want this product. There's no need for the product to even have any value. Like, we're not even arguing about how the product has value because like of complicated social division of labor in a capitalistic economy, and like 50,000 people came together in supply chains to make this one product happen. No. Don't even worry about that. Like, the product doesn't even have to have any value in the first place. Don't worry about value. Don't even talk about value. All right, so let's have a look at where this all started, because I actually want to have a look at this. This is himself. This is Logan. His first, attempt to make this product. Or like his first announcement about this product. I started a drink. There it is. I started a drink company with KSI. Here it is. The grubs. Hey. This is how you market. So yeah, for reference, if you're not across it, and like I'm vaguely across this stuff, let me just be honest here. But like these two are boxers and influencers. And yeah, they were rivals. So they were both influencers, let's be honest, first of all. And they decided to fight each other because of their boxing background, and they knew that that was going to be huge. And so they fought each other a couple of times. I think it was a draw, and then I think KSI won. And then they put their rivalry aside so they could, sell a sports drink together, which is, if you're in that industry, you know that those things are huge in terms of their value in the marketplace. Multi-billion-dollar industry that is. And they wanted a cut. And so they kind of played their audiences. This is seems to be a very prominent trick in the arsenal of influencers, especially YouTubers. They artificially create some type of rivalry between two people. Then they come together and they form a friendship, and then they let bygones be bygones. And then they might, start fighting again. And like all of that drama whips up so much of a frenzy in terms of the algorithm and apparently pushing products as well.
Now coming to the ring, it's Logan, the Maverick Paul.
Who's the king of social media?
kingdom tonight.
Has this score been settled now? Do you guys at least respect each other as men, as warriors?
Sorry. Big thing. Big announcement. Probably the biggest ever. Starting a lifestyle drink with KSI. My once...
It's a lifestyle drink. Remember that. What happened to all these celebrities becoming boxer MMA fighters? Wouldn't call Jake Paul a boxer. He's just really into Taibo and made it his personality. Come on. Yeah, well, it's a good bloody question, isn't it? What's going on? Eh? It's just part of the alpha male race, isn't it? This is how you become a man in today's society. If you're a celebrity, you need to fight. And if you're anyone else, you need to be able to fight too. And that's how you make a name for yourself.
Rival. I feel like this isn't just something you can just say, though. Like, how can you just say that? It's so much more than just like a sentence. You know, f this, bro. After the podcast with JJ, the content was so rich, we realized that we f with each other. Like, I like the kid a lot. We've had like parallel careers pretty much our whole life. In my eyes, it was almost inevitable that we came together at one point, and I think we're at that intersection right now. In a positive way, you know, not beating the shit out of each other, which we've done twice now on 2 separate occasions. But this time, we're gonna come together.
So funny. I've never had to like photo shoot a drink, a beverage before. Like, I don't know how to, like, is it like this? Yeah. Like this?
It really is such trash, isn't it? All this type of stuff. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch, man.
Give me that shit up, getting Rico. Big money and rolls like burritos.
Look how awkward I am.
Give me my slippers, con mimosa. My limousine and my chauffeur.
He's so charismatic in front of the camera. He just comes through the screen. Meanwhile, I f***ing suck. One of us gotta carry this brand.
Yeah, think of it like this.
My tongue is too pointy.
No, you're overthinking. You're overthinking. Think of it like this. You can have it. It's your drink. Have fun with it.
Give me that.
Let me see you go. The editing's fantastic, though. I'm jealous. Fuck me, dude. But, like, this is kind of, you know, this is what working people are into. Like, it is a strange moment of realization that I've come to when it comes to this type of content, is that it is itself very consumable. And the people of the world, they seemed to be, if not conditioned to want this type of stuff, they seem to definitely enjoy it to a certain degree. And so, like, if you got to meet the people where they are in order to get an anti-capitalist kind of message and spread understandings, like, you got to meet them with case studies, I guess, that are relatable, which is the thinking behind the stream today. But, you know, it's some of this stuff, it's difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Wow. Are you kidding me? Come on, guys. I spilled coffee. Oh, this is legendary. What do I do?
This is why you're the best manager in the game.
Watching the money climb, look out below. Let's get this jumping off a fountain toe. Looking over the edge now like how low. Watch out for the gallows and shallow. Wow, wow, wow. Let me see you go.
850 milligrams of electrolytes. 250 milligrams BCAAs.
10% coconut water.
Help me understand, honestly. We made a better for you drink that tastes better.
Yeah.
So why the f would we not overtake Gatorade eventually? There needs to be like I don't know what it's like, a consumer and like cultural shift
regarding hydration beverages that like we have to lead.
Think about everything in the world. Everything's advanced with time. This hasn't. This is a dinosaur, bro.
We should be clearing the shelves of everything except for this line right here.
Look at that. Now, if anyone knows much about retail, if they've ever worked in retail, understand retail sales, especially when it comes to, you know, supermarket chains and all that type of stuff, any type of market actually, that's huge for a product to initially start from nowhere and then be put up on the shelf at consumer eye height, as well as standing with other brands. That's a massive thing. I wonder how much they paid to be there. It's a big call to be able to have your product put up there straight away. Crazy shit. I wonder how they got away with that. They must have paid big time to be, like I said, eye level for consumers to really be able to see it. Not starting off on the bottom shelves and working their way up. This is a big thing in a highly consumer society where you're bombarded all the time to have prime position on the shelves. I wonder how much they paid for that.
Guys, we have an announcement. We have a project we want to tell you about.
We have created our own drink company. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen.
JJ, an honor. No longer rivals, brothers, business partners. That's it. We love y'all.
Peace.
Let's go. I guess that's out of
I'm at my prime. Yeah.
It was good. Yeah. It was good.
The labyrinth to the checkout. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Getting bombarded with chocolates and stuff on the way out. Big stuff.
We're not overthinking.
We did well.
Bro, I'm like shaking right now. Oh my god.
Bro, boy, you killed it going into fucking press mode. I was like, damn. I was like, yo, win it up, bro.
So that was it. That's the announcement. It's like zero. Again, remember, this is zero about the actual product itself. They're not selling this thing in the sense that, like, what did he call it? A lifestyle drink? I think he said, like, what the fuck does that even mean? What is a lifestyle drink? And like, you heard that other commentator before being like, yeah, he's called it a health drink, he's called it a sports drink, he called it all these things, but he doesn't even know what it is. Like, I don't think they actually care what it is. That was basically, look, remember how we used to beat the shit out of each other back in the day? Well, now we've got a drink together, and like, you like KSI and you like Logan Paul, and they've got 20 million subs between the two of them. Let's just push this product onto everyone because these two people have huge audiences. And that was pretty much it. This is all targeted at teenage boys with body dysmorphia. No way. You reckon? Drink my drink with my electrolytes and get jacked just like me. Ignore the fact that I go to the gym 3 times a day and spend big money on a personal trainer. Yeah, I think that's the real problem with this whole situation, is like, what's behind these people as a product. You want to talk about some like commodity fetishism, themselves as the commodity, right? Like, what goes in behind them? It's not drinking Prime 3 times a day. You're right. It is. They go to the gym and they have personal trainers, dietitians, nutritionists, physiotherapists. They have a whole team of people. It's actually a great analogy, Ninja Nurse, actually, for commodity fetishism, because as the commodity themselves, the brand that they're pushing, what is behind that brand? And it is scores of people. These guys have teams of people curating them as the product to be pushed onto, young men, basically. It's probably not. If you drink it, you'll get mad, bro. yeah, you'll get mad. Hey, you'll be mad like me, bro. Like, that's pretty much what's going on here. There was no product awareness in that. I started a drink company with KSI. There was nothing in that about the product itself. It was like, look, it's on the shelf. It's ready to go. We've done this. It's got electrolytes in it. You like electrolytes, right? It's got the word electro in it. And that was pretty much the long and the short of it. And those two, like, we were rivals. Now we're brothers, business partners. So, like, buy this shit because we want you to. That was the long and the short of it. But yeah, I really like the analogy for the broader discussion on this idea of commodity fetishism, which is what's behind them. No one really gets to see that. It's kind of like how the tech bros profit from rage bait, but focused of the emotions of inadequacy, taking advantage of vulnerable kids for a few bucks. A few bucks is rich as well. Like, they are, they're really taking advantage of kids. And like, these kids were going fucking mental for this stuff. Like, young people were going nuts for this product when it came out. Like, honestly, like, if you don't recall the hype that was around it or saw any of the footage of it at the time, I saw just a little bit of it. And yeah, I saw people going absolutely crazy to get their hands on Prime because it was kind of this new thing. Completely detached from the fact that, like, were people buying it because they love Prime orange flavor? No, it's because, again, they want to be the first to try it. Folks riding that fad wave hard, dude. Like, hard. Like fucking oath. I don't think you can't get much more of a wave than that. And I'm not saying, like, trends don't come and go in capitalism. Like, I'm fully aware of that. But like, the manifestation of that now in a economy that is turbocharged by social media and tech bros who will, use algorithmic, maybe not just rage bait, but algorithmic baiting is next level. And these guys, again, the teams of people that help them, the mystery beef with FJ when, yeah, actually, you know what? Avalava, I'd like that. I'll step in the ring with FJ. We can do that celebrity influencer boxing. I'll have to drop a few kilos to get into his weight range, I'd say. But like, I wouldn't mind stepping in the ring with FJ. It's been a long time since we've done something like that. But yeah, we'll start off with some boxing, and then we'll come together and pretend to be friends, and then maybe we can push a product. We can start a workers' party and ask everyone to sign up. That's hilarious. But yeah, look, nothing about the product. This is such an interesting case study in this. It really is the 21st century version of this mysticism around the product. There is absolutely no connection. Even like, okay, I get it to the value that's put into the product, like to those poor companies that change their entire manufacturing operations and suffer the costs of millions of dollars worth of damages because Congo Brands didn't follow through with its commitments to have a minimum order. Like, that's a real disconnection between the actual value that goes into that supply chain. Okay, fair enough. I get it. But hey, like, come on. It's not even about the product at all in this version of the fetishization. It is literally just about these two guys are now friends, so let's sell a drink together. Is that when FJ falls out with Albo and Tanya? Yeah, and then we'll start a workers' party. Why not? Mystery, new drink his electrolytes. Taste the revolution. Yeah, that's right. You cannot start a revolution unless you have the right energy levels. Are you feeling down? Let's start the revolution today, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. All right, so there's this other guy that I started watching. I want to finish it. And he was it was something along the lines of trying to prove that they tricked millions to drink this. I want to see if there's some psychoanalysis thing going on here, or some strategic analysis of how these two tricked millions of kids with, like, issues, as Ninja Nurse has alluded to here, to basically do their bidding. Here it is. This is the one.
16 bottles every single second. That's how much Logan Paul and KSI have managed to sell over the last 2 years. That's a total of 1 billion bottles. Prime is officially the fastest-selling beverage of all.
Okay, so this is January 2011. January 11, 2024, just for context.
All time. Looking at the hype, you might think that Prime Hydration is the new Apple. In reality, it's a brightly colored drink with an equally bright taste.
It's like swallowing perfume. What is that?
About as quickly as it arrives on the shelf, it sells out. It has become so hard to find Prime that there are entire TikTok accounts dedicated to tracking bottles. A limited supply and high demand means one thing: an expensive resale market. Some bottles have been auctioned for several $1,000s.
Look at that, man. Look at that. When this thing came out, people were so desperate to get it, they were paying £5,000 for a 12-pack of this Prime Hydration X KSI bundle limited edition. £5,000, which is more. Like, let's be honest, eh? The British pound. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously, fuck, that's mental.
In schools, kids keep empty bottles filled with water to gain social status. Prime Hydration is one of the biggest success stories of the last years. Most of the praise has been given to the two YouTubers that face the brand. Looking beyond the bold packaging and star names, and a very different picture appears. A story full of controversies, carefully manipulated by a secretive company. A strategy that aims to change the way we shop forever, and they are using Erling Haaland to do it. Welcome to Athletic Interest and the secret strategy that turned Prime Hydration into the fastest-selling drinks company of all time.
I wonder where they stand now, a year later, or more, a year and a half later after this. And, like, do they really think it was the best strategy of all time? Like, look, pushing products faster than ever before, eh? You got to give them credit where credit's due. But why not? You could push something like this, more perfect. The wellness industry doesn't want you to know. What the wellness industry doesn't want you to know. It's a toxic world. Deep state detox. It's ironic how Americans drink Prime as if healthcare is free in the country. Savage, man. That was savage. You should push something like this. You know what? After we're finished with this, we delve into the hyper acute commodity fetishization of the modern era. Let's have a look at what More Perfect Union has to say. I haven't seen a bit of stuff coming out of More Perfect Union in a while. Let's have a look, see then. Let's finish this one.
Prime Hydration can trace its roots back to the 1800s when a small-town scientists discovered... Sorry, our mistake. There are no business trips to Thailand or cocaine in this story, at least not when we are talking about the drink. Prime Hydration was born in 2022. Logan Paul and KSI were two YouTubers locked in a fierce boxing rivalry. Their first meeting ended in a draw. The second was a controversial KSI win. When the duo appeared on an Instagram Live, everyone assumed that it would be to announce round 3. But they announced a partnership selling hydration drinks. This was a classic bait and switch. Logan Paul...
Classic bait and switch, eh? And the working class goes down again, eh? We're fooled by our consumption desires.
Paul and KSI played on their feud to draw people in, and then joined forces to capitalize on the attention.
We are officially business partners. We are no longer rivals.
Their goal? To replace Gatorade as the biggest hydration drink in the world. Two fierce rivals joining forces to take down a common enemy. The deception was quickly forgotten, and millions of followers were hooked. The launch was followed by similar moments of magic. In one viral video, a wild monkey takes a bottle of Prime from Paul's bag before running away. Some claim it was a setup, but Paul...
Let's just watch that one again.
Bottle of Prime from Paul's bag before running away. Some claim it was a setup, but Paul denies it.
I did not set it up, except when I noticed him going for the Prime. The moment he took the Prime out of the bag, I knew this was going to be the best video on the fucking planet.
Viral videos were a useful tool for Prime in the early days, but selling 1 billion bottles takes something else. When Prime arrived in the UK, hype reached a whole new level. Instead of making the drink widely available across the major supermarkets, Prime gave smaller amounts to select brands. When this scarcity met the hype, it created mania. People started queuing for hours to get their hands on the latest flavor.
Look at those people, man. Look at those people. What the fuck are they doing? It's a drink. Like, I get it when you watch like Black Friday footage in America and stuff like that, and like people like going nuts because they want to get a fucking TV because it's like worth, I don't know, hundreds if not thousands of dollars, and they're like crushing each other to get a TV. But like, this is a drink, man. Who cares? That's mental. Look at that. And what a tactic, right? Bastards.
It created mania. People started queuing for hours to get their hands on the latest flavors. Most shops sold out within 30 minutes of opening, a classic example of scarcity marketing. Social media was flooded with people documenting their desperate searches for Prime. Traditional media noticed and began to report tales of overpriced Prime and crazy kids. This
Crazy
created
kids.
a virtuous cycle where attention created demand, which in turn created more attention, and so on.
So what did he call it? What type of accent is that as well? Anyone want to take a guess if that's some Northern European accent of some type? Can you please briefly explain what scarcity marketing is? Like, talk about predatory, eh? Like, we got no idea. Scarcity marketing is a sales tactic when a product is made to seem limited in quantity or availability, so people feel pressured to buy quickly before it's gone. It works off triggering FOMO, fear of missing out. Like, this is just layer on layer of social media pressuring and conditioning, isn't it? Like, FOMO is the linguistic tool of the social media age, fabricated to help understand the world around us, this very, very difficult to traverse hyper-consumerist landscape. And so we come up with acronyms like this to help us understand and process the world as working people. And like, you know, here it is. Scarcity marketing is triggering our FOMO. The idea that something is rare and more valuable or desirable and exclusive, so you don't want to miss out on it. Example, only 50 left in stock, limited edition flavors or packaging. Like, who cares? Like, honestly, I still can't get over that. Like, people pay £5,000 to get this stuff. Limited time sales offer ends tonight. Prime Hydration's early hype is a textbook case. Limited store drops, small shipments, and viral videos of people scrambling to get bottles created the illusion of rarity, boosting demand. This is like when people talk about, like, when you talk to people about, you know, capitalism and the free market economy, and people go off like really, really hardcore about this idea of scarcity. And if you speak to them about like an alternative system, like a planned economy, for example, like, you know, not even talking about like, you know, transitioning to like communism or something like that. You just talk about like, you know, the free market is the best way to distribute resources because scarcity exists. Like, that is one of the biggest misnomers about economics. Like, the entirety of like modern day economic thinking, so neoclassical economics, is founded on this central notion that there is scarcity. So people buy stuff because there may be a limited supply of it. However, there is actually no evidence to suggest that there is scarcity, like unbounded scarcity out there. Like, there are certain, I get it, there are certain products obviously that are scarce. Like, not everybody can live on the same waterfront property at Bondi Beach, for example. There is a limitation to that. But like, in terms of food, in terms of like drinks and stuff like that, well, you think they can't produce this stuff to meet everybody's consumer demands in a very, very advanced industrial economy? We have the ability to do that. There's not limitations on like being able to service an entire market, but limited limiting the quantity of something to produce the idea of scarcity and then reinforcing that that's how economics just generally works is beautiful for a capitalistic system where you have commodity production. So things are produced for sale, not for their utility. You want people to think that things are limited. And so like when you argue with people, you debate with people out there and they tell you the free market's the only way to do it, it's the most efficient distribution of resources because there is the scarcity problem or the scarcity principle, that fundamental assumption they have is the thing that you should be drawing attention to. Because without that there, all of their thinking unravels. Because all of their thinking, like their entire worldview and concept of why free market is so amazing, why capitalism is so amazing, is because they believe that there is scarcity. That like there's just not enough shit to go around. So we're going to make sure we have a market system to make it work for everyone. So keep that one in mind. Keep that one in mind. Question people's underlying assumptions. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. But like most people don't, when they sing the praises of the free market over some type of planned economy, they have no idea what they're talking about because they believe everything is based on scarcity. And that is just remember, that's just an assumption made by economists. It's not grounded in any real evidence. It's just an assumption. So they have a standpoint to argue about their economic theory. And it's a big assumption if you ask me. So you're saying they used their social media status to orchestrate a high-profile sporting event and then released a sports drink? Doesn't sound planned at all. Yeah, actually, that's good planning of economics, isn't it? And then artificially created scarcity in that market as well. That's planned economics 101. This is why it really pisses me off when people speak about the free market and like, you know, the good stuff just rises to the top, because all of this stuff is so contrived. It's so artificial, right? So artificial. And yeah, they planned it pretty well. Sounds like a little bit of planned economics. That's a dirty word. Edward Bernays would be so proud. Oh my God, yes. There's some scary stuff watching that guy, isn't it? Like that with that documentary. There's a documentary out there somewhere on the vast internet, and like you see the actual footage of that Eddie Bernays dude. Like in the 90s or something, he looks like he's in his 90s in the 1990s, and he's having dinner talking about like his achievements and how he used like Freudian tactics to kind of create the entire PR industry and change the game forever when capitalism was at its most productive and consumption was not meeting production demands. Then, you know, in steps Edward Bernays to help save the capitalistic mode of production and get people consuming again. Because, again, you gotta convince people to consume in this style of capitalistic development, because we have mass production now. It's not small-scale production like we used to have potentially even in Marx's time, but that was the transitional point there for industrial capitalism. Before that, you had small-scale capitalistic production, but now we have mass production. Forget about it. Now we need mass consumption, and yeah, commodity fetishization and marketing is the church. You go and you pray at your local sect, your whatever you subscribe to in terms of your consumption habits. You go and you pray and you make the ultimate sacrifice at that temple as a consumer in this incredible late stage capitalistic world. Let us continue. Now we know what scarcity marketing
The second
is all
phase of
about.
Prime's rise came when parents started to notice what their children were drinking. Some became concerned with artificial ingredients. Others were annoyed at being pressured into buying expensive drinks. Carrying a bottle of Prime meant that you were either incredibly lucky or rich enough to buy on the inflated resale market. And then, schools even banned Prime from campus. They argued that the drink was a distraction, with some kids feeling pressured to spend money on Prime to be accepted. The prohibition only made Prime more attractive to rebellious teenagers. This is similar to how Red Bull got started, targeting young people at nightclubs and universities, while the media generated even more attention through explosive headlines about health concerns. Looking back, this may seem like a smart strategy, but Prime insists that the scarcity was actually down to production errors. So it was luck. Whatever the truth, something tastes weird. We're not just saying that because we tasted Prime while researching this video. The expert way that Prime has navigated in these early days suggests a larger plan and a bigger team behind the scenes. Or to put it in a more dramatic sentence, who is pulling the strings at Prime? To answer that, you need to look at the back of the bottle. Here you will find an address in Louisville, Kentucky. Search this address and you will find this manufacturer number. Put this number in this website and meet Max Clemens and Trey Steiger, co-owners of Congo Brands, the real owners of Prime. Their names are everywhere on the official documents. While Logan Paul and KSI will have significant interest in Prime, these two own the majority. A look at their website suggests that it was Congo's idea to bring Logan Paul and KSI together in the first place. Congo Brands calls itself a full-service product development hub. That's just a fancy way of saying they do everything, from idea and design to marketing and sales. This isn't the first time that Congo Brands has tried the same strategy. In 2018, Congo partnered with fitness influencer Katie Hearn to create Alani Nu, a line of energy drinks and fitness snacks. Hearn became the face of the brand and advertised it across social media. Alani Nu is one of the fastest growing in the fitness supplement market, with more than 200 million in sales within the first year. This comes from just $9,000 spent on traditional advertising. Its biggest competitor spent $23 million. That sounds like a familiar story. What Congo Brands is doing is the next evolution of influencer marketing. Companies normally hire influencers to sell their products. Now, influencers are creating their own brand.
There you go. Hey, instead of using the influencer, hey, to help push an existing product that has some form of consumer demand, like real demand, because it is actually a commodity with a utility. It has use value, to borrow a Marxian principle or a Marxian term. You just go straight for the branding. You don't even bother with the product. like, this is next level stuff. It's mental.
And doing the sales themselves. That's why The Rock has a tequila, Deadpool has a gin company, and Federer has some shoes. The benefits of this approach? Lower ad spend and a more authentic brand image. But there is another hidden benefit. One that hints to the future of Prime Hydration. The rapid rise of brands like Prime Hydration, Alani Nu, and even Aviation Gin was only possible thanks to the instant exposure their celebrity owners attract. These brands gain instant market share. Their competitors have two options: watch as their share is eroded, or buy out the loud marketing machine before it does too much damage. Most go for option 2. Aviation Gin was sold to drinks giant Diageo for more than $600 million. Congo is reportedly considering a partial sale of Alani Nu for a valuation of $3 billion. As Gatorade watches its sales decline and Prime reach new heights, they may be tempted to send in an offer. The influencer-led approach may look impressive, but the headlines hide a deeper reality. Viral videos, prohibitions, and frenzied teenagers don't work forever. All fads come to an end, especially when your main market is children. Prime knows it needs to mature to reach that next level. First proof of this is the launch of Prime Energy, an energy drink that is targeted at adults.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at the strategy behind that one. Absolutely mental. Right? I want to know more about Congo. Hey, that's where it's at, bro. Congo. Can you please give me some type of indication of what Congo? Congo brands. does in terms of strategy and its history of being involved in this type of production of energy drinks with social media influencers. I want to see if they can verify this. It's a massive, audacious claim. Looks like a lot of people have too much money to just piss away on meaningless shit. Well, it would seem that way, but again, like, you know, in this late stage of the capitalist system, you have people that have access to incredible levels of financing. Like, money has completely been detached from any, and like, talking about value here again, like, money used to be grounded in, like, you know, the gold standard. It was backed by gold, it was backed by silver, it was backed by something. In fiat currency, like, there is, like, money just is proliferated, like, it's just everywhere, and like, it's usually just printed and created by banks, and they give it to other rich people, let's be honest, because they can't risk giving it out to working class people, because we don't have the means to pay back our loans anymore, and we're too dangerous, so they just finance it out to other, like, to companies and other people in the bourgeoisie. And so they come up with these fancy ways of extracting value from one another, and usually it's through private equity. So a company will come in and, like, basically do a hostile takeover another one. They might use the company as a shell, they'll extract a bit of value from it, like, maybe do something to the company, maybe just destroy it and sell it on to somebody else, but maybe they'll revamp or rebrand the company and then sell that off to somebody else, and then make, you know, $20 million off it, or make some ridiculous amount of money off the top of that sale. And then that system, that's how capitalism works now for the bourgeoisie. They just live off asset protection and marketing tricks, or sorry, accounting tricks. And this is what this seems to be like with this Congo brands. They understand that if a bunch of influencers can push a product really fast and take away the actual share of real capitalists in that marketplace, then they'll get bought out, and then they can make a quick $1 billion getting bought out by the competitor, because they don't want to lose share of the market. Founded in 2014 by Max Clemens and Trey Steiger in Louisville, Kentucky, Congo Brand serves as a full-service product development hub for CPG, consumer packaged goods, particularly in health, wellness, and beverages. Their portfolio includes Prime Hydration, Alani Nu, 3D Energy, each created in collaboration with prominent social media influencers. Business strategy. Congo Brands works behind the scenes handling recipe development, manufacturing, distribution, and logistics, while partnering with influencers for branding and marketing. Founders Clemens and Steiger retain a majority stake, around 60%, while influencers like Logan Paul and KSI own about 20% each. That's interesting. Serving as both co-founders and the public face. Yeah, so that's interesting. And they serve as the public face. So when it goes down, like, they get the reputational damage that comes with that. It's interesting how the influencer economic microcosm works. Influencer-powered hype is the core of their strategy. Prime's meteoric rise, 250 million in sales in its first year, was driven by Logan Paul and KSI's massive online followings, stunts, memes, scarcity tactics, and branding that resonated with their youth culture. Congo Brands has also leveraged high-profile partnerships, e.g. UFC, Arsenal, and strategic media stunts to amplify engagement. Like you, as you said, Avalava, like Eddie Bernays would be so proud. Okay? And strategic media stunts to amplify engagement with minimal traditional ad spend. Summary table. Role, operational backbone, products, logistics, manufacturing, strategy, build brands with influencers, co-founders leading their audiences. Ownership structure, 60%. Marketing style, viral social strategies, influencer stunts, event partnerships, scarcity. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, the S word. Then capitalists strike again, don't they? Bastards.
Even this has landed Prime in hot water. Not that the owners will mind. How does Prime truly mature and take its place next to Gatorade and Red Bull? It borrows from their most tried and tested strategy, sports marketing. Prime has already partnered with several top athletes and sports teams. Erling Haaland is probably the smartest partnership Prime could ask for. His sporting achievements and potential give Prime much-needed credibility in a wider audience, while his personality keeps him popular with the younger audience that still makes up the majority of Prime's customers. The perfect bridge between the present and the future. Prime has successfully hacked the sports hydration market. Looking at the numbers, the influencer-led approach is hard to beat. In just 2 years, Prime has gained a large market share at the expense of Gatorade. But this strategy is not sustainable. For the future, Prime has placed its bet on the authenticity of athletes. The same strategy that has worked for Red Bull and Gatorade over the last decades. If Prime masters this next step, it will be impossible to ignore.
And it looks like they didn't master it, hey? That was an interesting little analysis of that, I must admit. Like the world of manufacturing commodity fetishism to the next level. And it would seem that, yeah, in an influencer world where you have, social media, the dictatorship of the proletariat in media form, this is what it looks like. They didn't master it. They flopped. Yeah, and it's interesting watching this video from a year ago in retrospect because it gives some interesting insider analysis to the ins and outs of marketing in a sporting industry, which is obviously aligned with the sporting paraphernalia and the products that come with that. So like energy drinks and sporting drinks being one of them, like a massive part of that community and that entire industry. But yeah, they didn't master it. They didn't master it at all. But yeah, as the dictatorship of the proletariat, as some would potentially classify social media as, if you could do it without like all the algorithms, they forgot to buy out politicians. Yeah, well, that's the next step. They were going to start marketing towards adults, their energy towards adults. Like it was in their strategy to go for the kids first. So somebody think of the children. And hey, now they've gone after they should have gone after the politicians next. They needed the right lobby groups. They needed something like what the tech bros have. New Choice, LC, I think it was. Or Tech Choice. But yeah, they needed to go after the politicians. But yeah, in this world where you have a dictatorship of the proletariat, through social media, and like people scramble towards like their favorite personalities to get behind, and they vote through their following. They vote for what they want to see in that social media landscape, with following those people and listening to what they say and doing what they request. This just shows you, and this is the strategy. And the strategy was knocked over this time, it would seem, because all they did was concentrate on the fetishization. They only focused on the fact that these two people were massive influencers, and them coming together and ending their feud was going to be the conduit for pushing a new product that would challenge Gatorade itself and have just enough longevity to survive for a buyout. That really shows that they absolutely have no faith in the commodity at all. It's a hype train, and a hype train that had to survive just long enough to be bought out by Gatorade or PepsiCo in order to get that massive billion-dollar payout or multi-billion-dollar payout, potentially, depending on how much of a threat you are to the established capitalists out there. Honestly, if they did, we'd be getting to Cyberpunk 2077 levels of but yeah, and it failed this time, but they're not going to like let that one go. There'll be some lessons learned, and then they'll be back on that one again and again and again and again and again and again to help push these rather ridiculous products. But is that the real lesson here? And I ask you this, like, what's your opinion on this? Is it simply the fact that in a capitalist society, it really does come down to the production of commodities? And if they haven't produced anything of value, then it's not even viable in the capitalistic world. Like, we'd have to be in some other type of scenario, maybe a techno-feudalist world where like people don't actually really buy products exactly as Sweeb89 was alluding to before. Like, you don't actually get a product and you buy it and you consume it. Maybe you just pay subscription to some type of influencer, or you pay a subscription to some brand and then you just get fed Prime because you've subscribed to them. You don't even buy the products anymore. You get a subscription to Prime, and like they just live off like rent value as opposed to providing real commodities for people to exchange in the marketplace and take actual ownership over. Because that's the big part of the capitalist system, is there is an exchange going on, and the exchange comes from the idea that, you know, you have private property rights in a capitalist society. Like, people are supposed to respect property. And so like you buy something and then it becomes yours to have and to hold. But in a system like this capitalist system, people buy shit and they want to consume it to have and to hold it because it's worth buying. So maybe this was doomed to fail because they never got the fundamentals of capitalism right in the first place. Like, even with the gin example that they had there, I'm sure the gin still had to be decent gin. Like, it had to be consumable gin to some degree. I'm assuming that, you know, Federer's shoes, you know, they still have to be decent shoes because no one's going to buy them. It's just going to flop straight away off the bat. With this drink, like, did people actually like the drink? And, you know, he alluded to saying that in this investigation he tried it. Has anyone tried Prime? I've never tried it. So I'm only going off what Gordon Ramsay said so far. And he's just like, it tastes like I'm drinking perfume. Like, you know, maybe he's right. Maybe it sucked. Maybe it sucked bad. And, like, people were happy to have it as a status symbol. Like, I can't get over the example. And I think two of the sources that we looked at so far talked about like how it was a status symbol in class or at school. So like kids would have empty bottles of Prime and they'd walk around, like they'd fill it up with water, use it as a water bottle. But like if they had Prime, then they had social status. Like, holy shit, you got Prime. I remember when I was going through university, everybody had a bottle of Voss. There was these Voss water bottles that you could buy at Woolworths, and there was glass cylindrical bottle, and it had like a silver cap or a grey cap on it, and like everyone had a glass Voss bottle for their water. Everyone had one. And like if you just had like a normal water bottle, like a plastic one, you were a loser. Or like if you know, drunk water, I don't know, out of a bubbler or something like that, or like, you know, bought water at a cafe, like you should have had the foresight to go to Woolworths and get a Voss bottle, because that was cool, man. And that became like a status symbol. It's the same thing with the Prime. Like these kids just like, oh shit, I've got to show that I've got Prime. And like, you know, kids are so susceptible to that stuff, especially, you know, going through puberty, being a teenager and wanting to be included in, like, be down with the group. Like there's certain social forces that push them towards this, and these pricks were preying on it. And it's not just Logan and KSI over there. It was this Congo brands. Like the strategy was that you get the kids, then you got to get the adults. So they had a secondary product lined up that is targeted at an adult audience, an adult market. But first, you want to wedge into the market. Get the kids, man. Get the kids. They know how to consume. They know how to push and prod their parents. They know how to extract money off their parents to be able to be really good consumers in the market. And they're easily convinced and easily preyed upon too, it would seem, which is rather disturbing. Jag, those are the kids I despised in school. Well, it seems that nothing's changed. Nothing will change, and especially when you have such predatory organizations that know that and have absolutely no scruples at all. No scruples. And they're just like, we need to challenge Gatorade. We need that buyout. How do we do it? Let's go after the kids first. That'll be a good wedge, and then we'll take it from there. This is private equity BS, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This company takeover company stuff, this like predatory kind of. See, like Marx wouldn't have even described it as like coercive competition, because coercive competition was about like competing industries like attacking each other, and then when there was an economic downturn, then the bigger fish eating the smaller fish because one couldn't survive. Like private equity bullshit doesn't have anything to do with that. It's just like these massive companies that exist out there, and they're financed by big finance, so like big asset holdings of the rich and the powerful, and they just go around consuming and like cannibalizing each other's like corporations and businesses. It's got nothing to do with like coercive laws of competition. It's just like, let's buy out this company because we have enough money to, and we'll borrow money from the banks who are inundated with cash anyway, because the central banks of the world keep on printing cash, and like they keep sending it out to the banks, and the banks don't want to send it to regular people because no one can actually pay back loans properly. So like it's just banks that have heaps of money lending out to other massive corporations who then use that money to buy other companies out, and then, like I said, cannibalize them or reappropriate them, repackage them and sell them off to somebody else, and then everybody makes a few like $1 million. It's this hyper speculation. It's this hyper speculation that is just unimaginable to us regular people. Like, it's just unimaginable how like the rich and the powerful, it's like hedge funds and all that sort of stuff. Like nobody really knows how all that sort of stuff works. Even if you wanted to be like a hedge fund douchebag in Wall Street, like you couldn't do it anyway. You need special licenses. You need to know people how to become like a hedge fund broker or something like that. Like it's this, they have another world up there. And so yes, all this private equity bullshit, that's exactly what's going on with these people. They use these influencers to push a product which is not even a product, so they can then wait for a buyout from other massive companies out there. Good stream, mystery. R.I.P. Logan Paul's WWE career. Yeah, bring the mother down, because you know it's just another form of him trying to sell his brand so he can probably push other products. R.I.P. WWE Prime Hydration Station. Very good. See you later, Flores. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. This, while being a very warped topic and a warped rabbit hole to go down, I think it's still interesting nonetheless as a case study, because damn, this is the way the world's working at the moment. And like, you know, Marx, with his incredible insight, writing 150 years ago about some concepts that have now been taken to the nth degree, would have had just absolutely no idea how far we as a human race could take this stuff. And, you know, he would be blushing right now. He'd have a nice little blush going on. Poor old Marx. But yeah, it's very simple. And like, you know, I'm sorry to lecture you on Marx, but like, you know, hopefully you appreciate it. But there's two competing forces of value in the Marxist analysis of economics. There's a contradiction in capitalism between the use value of something, so you know, whether it's needed or not, there's an actual like market demand, there's real demand for something because people want to use something, they want to consume it, they want to eat it, they want to use it because it's necessary to them, it has some functionality. So there's use value, and then there is the exchange value. And so there is a contradiction between those two things in a capitalistic society, because the commodity is made up of those two opposing forces. It's made up of many things, but like in this context, it's made up of the contradiction between use and exchange. And like exchange takes precedence in a capitalistic society, but you've got to have use. Like you can't expect people to pay the exchange value of something, to actually pay for a product and continue to consume it as people of the consumer class, unless there's a utility to it. And so this form of commodity fetishization, which is just like, hey, buy this shit because I'm Logan Paul, and like it's literally shit, like just buy it because I have told you to buy it, means that once the hype is gone, there is absolutely no utility and use value to it. It's got zero relevance. So once the hype is gone and these people stop pushing it, and like I've seen some disgusting stuff from that Logan Paul dude in terms of his, you know, his hype campaign. Like there's a scene where he's like, I don't know, talking about this Prime product, and his missus is like right next to him watching TV, and she's like heavily pregnant, just sitting there. Her stomach is out like this, and he gets his Prime drink and puts it on her stomach, and he's just like talking about it and stuff like that. And then after he's finished talking about it, he takes it off and, you know, and drinks it. And like he uses his unborn child and his pregnant missus to be a tabletop for his product. And like that world, that like whole level of absolute sensationalism, as the old meaning of fetishization means mysticism, that magical quality, that magical, hey, consume over here, look at me, consume over here, just shows you that it doesn't matter about the product. And if that's where we're heading in this stage of capitalism, where the actual value that's being produced is completely meaningless now, like the stuff that we are producing for people, like in terms of nourishment anyway, I know it's rich to call it nourishment, but like if the stuff that we create because we want hydration, or we want some sports drink that helps us perform, or something, a lifestyle drink, if the stuff that we produce has zero value apart from just being told to do so by someone with influence, this is a scary world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very frightening place. Being a hedge fund manager is easy. You just need gelled up hair, overpriced suit, and abhorrently oversized ego, and then start saying, buy low, sell high. Easy peasy. Fictional capital has evolved into a commodity itself and become social capital. Hence the reason why status symbols become a goal in and of itself. Yes. Because like in a detached system where value has become so meaningless, then what else do you have but like symbols of status? Because real value doesn't mean anything anymore, because no one's actually producing real value anyway. So fucking who cares? Who cares? Let's just worry about the symbology entirely, because it is oversaturated the market now. Like having a t-shirt doesn't mean you're rich. Having a t-shirt that was made by Kanye West and sells for $1,000, which is made the exact same style, the exact same slave labor, it doesn't make a difference. Everybody's got access to t-shirts. T-shirts are a common commodity. So the only thing that can separate them now is this increasingly warped and detached compounding fetishization. Marx talked about the negative competition between workers. Capitalists are using competition between them as a positive. Yeah, that wouldn't be the first time they've tried to drive wedges between people in the working classes to their own gain. And it won't be the last either. Definitely won't be the last. Now, we're going to we're going to switch directions here, because I'm actually interested in this more perfect union video that you've put up here. So I'm going to have a look at that. But But we're going to have a quick break, and then we will be back with some more. So, yeah, give me a moment and we'll be back. Oh, Squeeb 89's back in the house. Oh, shop prices are increasing as people put more perceived value on retro designs. Op shop prices, sorry, are increasing as people put more perceived value on retro designs. See, like, even in that sense, like, at least there's some connection to reality there. Because, you know, op shops usually are full of, yes, retro designs and clothes that are no longer in circulation because they're not being produced. So at least there is actual scarcity there that helps relate to inflated prices. But like, you're right, it's the perception of it being exclusive and like trendy that gives it its inflated prices, as opposed to the fact that it's not in circulation anymore in terms of its production as a commodity. Unfortunate, but at least there's correlation between those two things going in the same direction, as opposed to this situation that we've been looking at, which is like next level. Exclusive old stuff. Old stuff. All right. Give me a second. We'll be right back. Right, let's do this. Rodney Dangerfield, tragedy, Caddyshack. Oh my god, this is about hedge fund managers. All right, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look.
Where's my phone?
Gentlemen, it's about time.
I told you never call me on a golf course. Then sell. They're all selling, then buy.
Listen to me.
I'll tell you what, let me have the
we
coat.
start now?
Any coat.
Gentlemen.
What do you want?
Gentlemen.
Where's my phone?
Gentlemen, it's about
Look at that. Imagine having a phone like that.
Then sell. They're all selling, then buy.
Imagine being that rich back in the day where you had like a phone like that at the golf course with you. That's incredible. Classic theatre intermission time. Must be watching a double feature. I just need to have a break every now and again when I do my 3-hour streams. All right, let's have a look at this one. What was the wellness industry? What the wellness industry doesn't want you to know. And we're going down an attack, a scathing attack on these assholes in the health and fitness industry. Hey, more perfect union. Oh, there's a lot of beef on this one. Lots of people angry at the health industry, eh? I wonder why it's not showing up. Damn. I wonder if we get hit up with ads then. Alright, let's just see if we get compounded. Get pounded. Let me do this.
Watch what eggs do.
Straight away.
In rough shape.
Right,
The
let's
American
go.
healthcare system is in rough shape, but the wellness industry has never been healthier. You can find any treatment for any illness or annoyance, whether it works or not. Wellness influencers are the new
Oh
celebrities.
my god,
Everybody's
that
got
was
something to
Brian
sell.
Johnson, wasn't it?
Never been
Go
healthy or
back.
not.
Yes, that's the guy. This is the guy that did blood transfusions of his son, with his son. This is the tech bro. This is the guy, man. Oh, wow. It's crazy.
Wellness influencers are the new celebrities. Everybody's got something to sell.
I'm going to show you all the supplements.
These are the wellness routines that I actually think are some of my favorite
These are the
wellness
supplements
products.
that everyone can take.
Because in the wake of a global pandemic, Americans are losing trust in doctors and embracing influencers, juices, powders, and coffee enemas. And now it's coming from the top down.
We need to see. Isn't this an interesting, like, kind of inversion of what we were speaking about before as well? Like, in a society where you have people that are really just good consumers now, the ultimate articles of consumption or driving the consumption is about you. You are the product now. And so, like, you need to be perfect and you need to be healthy and you need to be this and you need to be that. So, like, it's all about pushing products that create a better you now, as opposed to you buying things and having a better lifestyle or having better living conditions or access to goods and services and commodities that were never available to anyone else before. They're exclusive in that sense, and like they can allow you to relate to the world a little bit nicer. It's actually you the product now are the one that needs a little bit of improvement. And so, like, let's buy these products to make you, to fashion you in to the ultimate commodity now. It's absolutely incredible, isn't it? COVID taught us all life is short and we are aging. If you don't pay for the service, then you are the product. Dun, dun, dun.
And coffee enemas. And now it's coming from the top down.
We need to stop trusting the experts.
So how did we get here? How did the wellness market grow to about quadruple the size and financial value of the pharmaceutical industry? And who's ultimately profiting off the public's embrace of healthcare hacks and homeopathy? We went down the rabbit hole and through the cluttered algorithms, spoke with experts, influencers, and doctors, and even broke into the industry ourselves.
There's a new one. Deep State Detox.
Deep State Detox, the new supplement for patriots.
To figure out how this movement started, who's funding it, and what it means for the future of our health. There have been skeptics of modern medicine ever since Louis Pasteur discovered germ theory. But the irony is that the more advanced we became in medicine, the more Americans began to doubt it.
There were huge leaps in medical progress in the 20th century and also big leaps in the pharmaceutical.
Isn't that a weird dichotomy? or contradiction. The more we have advances in something, the more we doubt it. I guess because there's more information to consume than ever before. And so there's more to be skeptical of. I guess that's a very positive way of looking at it.
Pharmaceutical industry, but it's in medical progress in the 20th century and also big leaps in the pharmaceutical industry. But it also, from the very beginning, was kind of an ivory tower vibe.
From the 60s up through the 90s, legit alternative practitioners and downright fraudulent healers built businesses on the fringe, collecting adherents who were often
Snake oil salesman? Anyone? Hey, it'll cure what ails you. Don't worry about it. It is a magic cure for all things.
desperate for cures.
Medicine has limits. There are things we know and there's things we don't know. There's things we can't do. There's holes. And I think that is where alternative medicine fills the gaps.
Some of them will tell you that you can beat cancer by injecting yourself with baking soda. Others of them think that you can cure cancer by zapping tiny little cancer-causing parasites with something that looks like a car battery that runs an electric current through your body.
In 1976, Congress passed the Proxmire Amendment, which made it much easier to sell unproven supplements. Around the same time, a group called Committee for Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy told people that they can cure cancer with a concoction made out of apricot pits. It soon emerged that the group was backed by members of the John Birch Society.
What's an apricot? Any Americans listening to this right now? Is an apricot the same thing as an apricot? Just asking for a friend.
Society, a secretive yet influential hard-right organization of ultra-rich, conspiracy-minded libertarians. Members included Fred Koch, the father of Charles and David Koch.
It's a fruit. An apricot. Eh? In, I guess, British-influenced English pronunciation, it's called an apricot. But I've never heard of an apricot before, so I'm going to have to put that one down to a cultural difference there.
Like father, like sons. Maybe they believed in apricot pits, but they definitely had a political motivation.
The John Birch Society's embrace of certain alternative medicine.
Oh, you do? Okay, so it's just her. Okay, she's an individual. She's a product of her own making and desires. The epitome of this new form of hyper-consumer society we live in, right here.
Was really part of a broader political effort to push the government out of all spheres of public life, which is an appealing argument if you're somebody who's trying to sell a product that's not safe for the public.
The John Birch Society was considered a fringe group at the time, but its pro-corporate, pro-conspiracy, leave us alone ethos has shaped American politics.
Can you give us a brief explanation of what the John Birch Society was formed? Can you please give us a brief explanation of what the John Birch Society was formed to do? It was created to fight what they saw as a growing threat of communism. What? What the fuck? That's not what she was talking about. Not just abroad, but inside the United States. Robert Welch Jr. believed communists had infiltrated the U.S. government schools and media. Fierce anti-communist policies, opposition to civil rights laws, resistance to U.S. participation in... What? In short, it was an ultra-conservative conspiratorial organization aiming to protect what it saw as American values by rooting out perceived communist influence everywhere, even when none actually existed. And how does this relate to alternative healthcare? A link to alternative healthcare comes from a broader distrust of government, mainstream institutions, especially anything it saw as part of the globalist agenda. God, here's that word. The John Birch Society believed federal agencies like the FDA were not neutral, but tools of a communist or globalist plot. This fed a deep suspicion of mainstream medicine, public health policy, and pharmaceutical companies. Fucking fair enough. Eh? Fucking pharmaceutical companies. Jesus. What's not to be scared of when it comes to big pharma? Oh, CC'd. Who got CC'd? Was that you, Jack? Ages ago. They should make Jake and Logan fight to death. That would be real entertainment. Yeah, that's something we could all get behind. Why did you say CC? Dang. Tried to say people listen to stories. It's what we survived around the campfire listening to. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, definitely. Very impressionable we are. Wow, so they were fighting communism and trying to shape American healthcare? God damn.
Sell a product that's not safe for the public.
The John Birch Society was considered a fringe group at the time, but its pro-corporate, pro-conspiracy, leave-us-alone ethos has shaped American politics, as well as the nation's healthcare system. Their mission was aided by the 1976 Supreme Court decision in Buckley versus Vallejo, which paved the way for corporate involvement in politics, including special interest groups eager to push U.S. policy toward deregulation. Around the same time, people were finding new, erroneous reasons to distrust doctors.
The birth of the modern American anti-vaccine movement was in 1982 with a film called DPT Vaccine Roulette.
For more than a year, we have been investigating the pertussis port of the vaccine. What we have found are serious questions about the safety and effectiveness of the shot.
The parents all told the same story. My child was fine, and they got this whooping cough or pertussis vaccine, and now look at them.
The connection was eventually disproven. Most of the kids were born with a genetic defect, but it still spawned a crusade that metastasized slowly until the 1990s. In the meantime, the health freedom movement, first articulated by the John Birch Society, continued to grow thanks to strategic investments from the business and right-wing communities.
Health freedom movement. What did they have to do with the health freedom movement? Played a big early role in shaping what later became known as the health freedom movement in the US, even though they didn't invent it. Framing health regulation as tyranny, the JBS consistently portrayed government regulation of food, drugs, and healthcare as an attack on personal liberty. Hey, like with everything, there's always two sides to a story. You got to admit, like I'm all for regulating food so it doesn't kill you when you eat it. But like regulating everything and saying that, big pharmaceutical companies should be the authority on what drugs are safe and not, when their job is to make profits out of people's health, not to cure it, but to sustain the market appeal, to keep the products flowing in terms of treatment. I don't know. I wouldn't be regulating anything that allows those people at the very, very top to maintain their power in the pharmaceutical industry. And healthcare as an attack on personal liberty. They argue that agencies like the FDA and the CDC were tools of authoritarian, even communist agenda. Water fluoridation and vaccination. In the 1960s and 70s, JBS was one of the loudest groups opposing water fluoridation, calling it mass medication, a step towards totalitarian control. That's a huge call, man. That's a huge call. Yeah, right. Fluoride in the water. Totalitarian stuff. It's not like there was just an influx or an overproduction of fluoride. They just decided, hey, let's pump into the water because what else are we going to do with it? And our friends in big business or industry need a bit of a hand. So let's make sure we do it. Oh, has it been? Is that how it appears to you guys? I'm sorry. I should put it so you can see it properly. Boo, mystery. You suck. They can't even see the whole fucking screen. Boo. There you go. Should be able to see that now. better. Sorry about that.
Conservative libertarians began pairing with the supplement industry to host a series of grassroots forums and trade shows and expos that courted alternative medicine practitioners. And
look at what supplement people used to look like. Eh? Like pharmacists and stuff like that, naturopaths. Look at them now when you go to somewhere that's like a supplement warehouse. They're like chicks in gym wear or like yoga gear and like buff dudes that are like trying to sell you protein powder. Such trustful looking people. Come on. Hey, who do you trust? Hey, the fully sick bro down at your local supplement store now in the local shopping center who's jacked? Or this girl, hey? You know that she just makes muffins on the weekends. Muffins that are injected or that are full of supplements of some kind. But hey, which one do you trust?
and users and believers to sort of consolidate behind an idea that would advance their agenda. And the idea that they sold them on was that Americans have the right to choose their healthcare options. The FDA had responded to this increase in public appetite for supplements by ensuring that every supplement that was on the shelf had to first meet minimal safety standards. They had to demonstrate that there wasn't, arsenic in their pills.
Many supplement and alternative medicine manufacturers did just that, and there are millions of people who find these products useful parts of their healthcare regimens. But others in the industry...
That's another one. Regimens? Healthcare regimes? Regiments? I don't know. She's just making shit up. Right? I don't know about this one.
resented the government's requirements, and when the Clinton administration's FDA proposed stricter labeling standards, it was simply a bridge too far. The industry showed its muscle by pouring millions of dollars into the Save Our Supplements campaign, which produced 2.5 million letters to Congress and this commercial starring Mel Gibson.
Freeze! Drug enforcement! Ah! Oh! Oh! Guys, hey, it's only vitamins. It's only vitamins.
The next year, the industry dropped millions more into lobbying Congress.
Dude, young Mel Gibson, hilarious. Whoa!
It's only vitamins.
The next year, the industry dropped millions more into lobbying Congress to pass the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act of 1994.
It really loosed this alternative medicine industry to make at least claims that sounded like this really could work for you.
Look, I am not... Look, more perfect union, I get it. They're alternative, they're progressive. I'm a little bit worried about the narrative that has been constructed here, that alternative medicine is a right-wing ploy, and like we should just trust the big pharmaceutical companies. Like, I'm sorry, but a capitalist is a capitalist. Whether they're a big pharma, they're industrial capitalist, financial capitalist, I don't know, they make energy drinks because influencers help promote their products. I don't know, man. I don't know if I trust either of them. I trust, damn it, I trust. If she starts saying EM dash, final proof she's AI. Yeah, I know, right? What's going on with this one? They employ the science people. I know the big farmers do, but like they're also employing people to produce profits. I don't know if like the alternative to alternative medicine is going to people that just want to profit off mass production, not just normal production, but mass production of medicines.
Now, they couldn't make specific claims. You couldn't say things like this product will shrink your prostate or this product will prevent heart attacks. But you could make vague claims, supports heart health, supports prostate health, supports immune health. And that really helped to launch the industry.
The industry has grown exponentially since 1994, powered by some of the world's biggest corporations.
You want to get big. You got
And some of the world's shadiest, most fly-by-night hucksters. And to prove how easy it is to get in on the action in this barely regulated industry, we too have become shady fly-by-night hucksters. Introducing Deep State Detox, our brand new formula designed to help your cells thrive in a world of big government toxins, including heavy metals, Wi-Fi signals, and seed oils. Plus, it'll invigorate your subconscious. Seriously, we Googled custom supplement manufacturer, chose one of the countless companies that offer the service, and sent them a few emails asking for a blend that fights heavy metals, Wi-Fi signals and seed oils, and uninspired subconsciousness. Their response?
That's pretty funny. That's hilarious. That's clever. I'll give them that.
We can definitely do that. Then they pitched some ingredients and sent over some samples, and legally speaking, we're free to sell these largely with any promise that we want. We're hardly the first people to get into health, diet, and wellness.
Just need a right-wing podcast, and then you can sell your supplements in no time. There it is. There it is.
Wellness with absolutely zero qualifications or expertise in health, diet, or wellness.
And we're back with Gwyneth Paltrow revealing her all-natural tricks to revitalizing your body from the inside out.
Gwyneth Paltrow cannot say, "I'm just like you," to most people in any kind of believable way. But she can say, "I don't trust medical science, the medical establishment, the pharmaceutical establishment either." And what makes me feel healthier and better are these things. And you can access those things too.
Actress Jenny McCarthy applied her deep medical expertise as a figurehead for the anti-vax movement.
Together, the tag team of WWE and Generation Rescue can and will lay the smackdown on autism.
Carrying the torch that was sparked in 1982 and truly ignited in 1998.
In 1998, Andrew Wakefield, a British gastrointestinal surgeon, published a paper in The Lancet of 8 children who had recently received the measles, mumps, rubella, or MMR vaccine that then within a month or so of that developed signs and symptoms of autism. And he then believed that the MMR vaccine caused autism. The scientific and medical community responded by doing the easy studies. That study now has been done 24 times in 7 different countries on 3 different continents and has found the same result every time. The MMR vaccine does not cause autism.
It was later
MMR? What does that stand for? Anyone? I'm not down with all this medical jargon, so I do apologize. What is an MMR vaccine as opposed to some other type of vaccine? The combined vaccine that protects against 3 diseases at once, measles, mumps. Oh, it's a type of vaccine. Right, okay. The combination. Live attenuated vaccine contains weakened attenuated live viruses, which help you. Okay, so it's like the traditional style of vaccine. Some other vaccines may be single disease or use different technologies like inactivated killed viruses, mRNA, or subunit vaccines. Okay, measles, mumps, rubella. Okay, so what's in it, right? Try our new liberal lard. Measles, mumps, and rubella. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. What did I just tune into? We are learning about the health industry, Jerry Poppins. Just learning about the health industry. We've just got on this incredible journey through the world of Logan Paul and KSI and how they are emblematic of the most perverted stage of capitalistic society that we are in now, and they produce nothing more than commodity fetishism. And now we're just going on a general deep dive into the alternative health industry, which is a massive industry. It apparently, according to these people in More Perfect Union, dwarfs the pharmaceutical industry by pretty large magnitude as well. So watch out. Hold on to your supplements, Jerry Poppins. We're about to shatter your worldview. All he did was create rage bait viral content so they could push products. Pretty much. But again, taken from what's his name? Taken from Karl Marx. This is a story as old as capitalism itself, but the development, oh my god, of it. Big Pharma, hell no. Deep state government ain't going to poison me. Right-wing grifter, oh, can I trust his pseudoscience paid advertisement? All he did was create rage bait, sorry. Oh, 2 kids, might I add. Yeah, that's what Logan Paul did. That's what he did. And how it's driving up Nvidia prices. Talking about microchips in vaccines. That's how you get Nvidia prices up.
Revealed that Wakefield's study was not only paid for by a lawyer who wanted to sue vaccine makers, but that Wakefield himself had applied for a patent for his own vaccine and medical devices. And it would have made him tens of millions if it weren't for those meddling scientists. Regardless of the facts, we still ended up here.
Without a doubt in my mind, I believe vaccinations triggered Evan's autism.
People like McCarthy parlayed their anti-vax activism into new careers, while lawyers such as RFK Jr. made millions suing vaccine makers. TV producer Del Bigtree pivoted to anti-vax media, funded generously by reclusive and anonymous donors in New York. And just like in the early 90s, this all got wrapped up under one big right-wing health freedom bow. In fact, Andrew Wakefield himself, chased out of England, showed up at Donald Trump's first inaugural ball with girlfriend Elle Macpherson, owner of her own supplement line. Wakefield
Great cut there. That was great.
eventually moved to Texas, where he became involved in the conservative medical freedom movement. It was already well established thanks to work done by both Congressman Ron Paul and supplement makers in the early 2000s to make alternative treatments a cog in right-wing media.
And they did this by demonstrating that they had a freedom message that was tied to a money-making message. The offer on the table to politicians from both parties was, you can make money by selling products, alternative medicine products, to your followers.
There's a company called Manatech, a maker of nutritional supplements.
I did a couple of speeches for them. They were paid speeches.
Let me tell you that diabetes can be reversed. That's why I'm strongly suggesting that you look into this product from Barton Publishing, and I should know it works.
Now that we're in the bid.
So, like, are we to take from this, and I'm sorry I'm being so critical, but, like, are we to take from this that alternative medicine is a right-wing conspiracy? Is that what they're advocating for here? More perfect union? Is this what they have devolved into, if that's the right word? Alternative medicine is a right-wing conspiracy theory. I just want to pay the bills and eat without robbing people. As a registered independent, I love how the party of facts don't care about your feelings apparently doesn't care about factual evidence from experts and is easily upset by opinions they do. YouTube is swamped with this type of advertising. Don't buy anything off of YouTube. Spoiler alert, the Heritage Foundation is 5 John Birch societies in a trench coat. That's hilarious. Oxycontin. It's not just an alternative medicine that can drive sales via way of kickbacks. It's not just an alternative.
We wondered just how easy it would be to get our own right-wing endorsement. And it turns out it's really easy.
This is a new one. Deep State Detox. This is going to be fun.
I saw this. I thought it was really cool. It might be something some of you guys would be interested in. This is from Deep State Detox. Let's check this out.
For just $150, we got a dozen hosts to read an ad for Deep State Detox on the Rumble shows.
The modern world fills us with chemicals and takes our freedom.
So that's what Deep State Detox is here to fix.
It's filled with all kinds of stuff Big Pharma and the government don't want you to know about.
It sent visitors to our website, which abided by the flimsy FDA regulations.
Can't sit there and say a lot of this stuff on here and it be fake. So go try it out. See how you guys feel.
You don't have to consent to taking your pills. It's your right to take these capsules and embrace health freedom over mind control. Oh, you got to click on this one.
If we'd made this stuff a decade ago, we probably would.
That is fucking hilarious. Talk about baiting people. Oh my God. Naomi Klein actually touched on this topic in her book, Doppelganger, and mentioned how the individualistic ideas behind the wellness culture gradually erodes people's belief in collective systems. There you go. Treat yourself. Don't worry about it. You don't need collective healthcare. Right? We don't need universal healthcare. Look after yourself. Again, that's how you push another product. Isn't Dr. Phil a pill pusher? What type of pills are we talking about here? Eh? Dr. Phil? You naughty old man, you? Eh? You grub. Interesting. Doppelganger. Well, it's definitely about producing a world full of individuals. That's for sure. Hippie type culture has similar ideas. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. There's always an alternative. You know, like being healthy. Second part of my comment was the CC. Really? You got done again? I guess this is a sensitive topic, let's be honest. Making them more prone to right-wing propaganda. Oh, okay, that's the end of it. Okay, believe in collecting systems. Making them more prone to right-wing propaganda around vaccines and government control. That's interesting. That's interesting. Because, like, you know, from people, or from someone that lives in a country that has, like, socialized healthcare, like, you know, universal healthcare, let's say. Like, we still have a lot of right-wing people that are, you know, drinking the Kool-Aid on certain viewpoints and sit on an ideological boundary, sit on either side of an ideological boundary about, you know, alternative medicines and alternatives to big pharma and all that type of stuff. It's an interesting point. Eh? Why did you get CC'd for the last half of that comment? What was wrong with that? Oh, because you said the V word, maybe.
Wouldn't have been so overtly political in our branding. But today, putting government conspiracies front and center aligns with the big new alternative medicine producers, which have seized on government conspiracies.
Alex Jones raked in $165 million over 3 years selling supplements and prepper gear. Yeah, hey, I'd buy some prepper gear off Alex Jones. He'd know where to hide out. I know a few, LOL.
Front and center aligns with the big new alternative medicine producers, which have seized on an unprecedented rise in public cynicism since the pandemic.
With the virus spreading like wildfire, a battle is raging over one of the key tools used to fight it.
Mainly here today because I am standing up for health freedom.
We shuttered schools, we restricted travel, we closed businesses, we isolated, quarantined, masked, social distance, and people saw that as massive government overreach.
It created so much distrust. It just opened up just tore open this gap, you know, between people and experts. So if you could fill that gap, which, you know, misinformation.
Technocrats, eh? We've talked about technocracy on this stream a little bit, eh? Sowing the seeds of division between normal people and the experts, which undermines democratic institutions. I didn't vote for this. Goddamn technocrats. They're the worst. I see prepper packs here in NZ. Whole package looks like cheap mass plastic products. You can even claim it back from health insurance. Where is Wings of Cheese for the Alex Jones references? Yeah, I know, right? Wings of Cheese is now a proud day labourer, I believe, and so has no ability to come along to streams anymore. But yeah, he would have appreciated it. It's in the water.
Purveyors very readily did, then you have an audience that is set up to believe you and set up to buy your stuff.
From the very beginning, even before the virus reached American shores, Dr. Joseph Mercola, a physician turned alternative health guru, was there to fill the gap, peddling misinformation.
Nobody's made more money off of selling swill than Joseph Mercola. He was such an effective marketer of these products that his website soon became more popular than the CDC's website. He was getting, like significantly more hits than any public service agency. And so this not only made Joseph Mercola a very rich man, but it also put him in a position to fund and support a lot of the grassroots groups that would eventually go on to become power players in this movement.
Mercola's early posts during the pandemic earned him the distinction of being the most influential conduit of COVID misinformation on the internet, which he, of course, parlayed into selling tons of books and liposoma vitamin C on his website, claiming that it can prevent COVID. He also insisted that actual COVID vaccines were a medical fraud. It's worth noting that 3 years before the pandemic, Mercola stated that his net worth was already in excess of $100 million.
It's estimated that the online misinformation business, disinformation business regarding vaccines, is a $1 billion a year industry, in large part supported by the alternative medicine industry. I mean, it's certainly a much better industry than the information business.
See, I'm not buying this. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a clash between two groups of capitalists. Hello, this is nothing new here. Like, honestly, we have a clash between big pharma and big alternative medicine. I'm sorry, but like, what is More Perfect Union advocating for here? That we should trust big pharma because they're not the alternative health industry? Is that what the summary here is that I'm hearing? Do my ears deceive me? Or is that what's going on here? Like, I get it that this alternative stuff is aligned, okay, with the right wing. They've done a great historiography. They've given us an understanding of the timeline of these events. But if what they're arguing here is that it's just like, look, just go with these capitalists over here because these ones are associated with the right wing. This is the danger of identity politics right here, ladies and gentlemen. More Perfect Union doesn't give a shit about the fact that there is a class struggle involved here, that there's two groups of capitalists that are preying upon working class people, and one group aligns more with the right wing and one apparently aligns more with the left wing, which is a weird inversion because prior to, I guess, the pandemic, I would have thought that most left wing or left leaning people would have had reservations about supporting big pharma who profit again off health. Like, that is one of the scariest ways to make profit I can think of. Honestly, like, it's almost as bad as someone like Logan Paul preying on children and Congo brands preying on children through influencers because they know children are easy to manipulate. When it comes to anything to do with health in a capitalistic mode of production, I am generally wary of that. The last thing you want to do is hand over health to the private industry. So, like, I understand the picture that they're painting, which should be, hey, let's just be a little bit cautious of how the alternative medicine industry really works and who's really behind it. But like, I hope they are not advocating for big pharma here because I'm really not comfortable with that whole situation. More Perfect Union is only capable of criticizing the right. And look, I've watched some of their stuff, and I enjoyed their scathing criticism of Peter Thiel. I thought that was a good investigation, and it was a good launch pad for us on this channel to look into other stuff that Peter Thiel's been involved in, and we were able to research that. But like, you know, this just seems like an attempt to solidify the race to the bottom, which is identity politics. I think they should follow this up with an investigation of like how big pharma profits off things like standard medical intervention and vaccines and being involved with the CDC or other massive institutions within the US state machine, the deep state kind of stuff. I'm surprised that they are making this an identity politics issue. They could just attack, you know, they could go after the industry itself. But the framing here is strange to me. It's like, yes, working people are being preyed upon by this industry. Why can't we make it about that? That it's like, again, we're being hustled as working people of the world, as regular people, and we're being sucked dry of all of our additional capital or our disposable income. Or some people, you know, again, they don't even wait to have a disposable income. They unfortunately they take out and use Afterpay or use the credit card or something like that, go further into debt for alternative medicine or supplements and things that are going to help their health. Like, we're being preyed upon by marketing schemes, and they're making it a political issue. It's disappointing, unfortunately.
A ton of money on random wellness junk this year.
The modern wellness industry relies heavily on social media influencers to fuel its growth. And other than a barely enforced FTC regulation that requires sponsored posts to be labeled as such, there really aren't many rules of what you can sell or how. It's a symbiotic world. Loads of new wellness companies, like say Bloom Probiotics, throw big money at well-known influencers to pitch their products regardless of the product's efficacy. A recent study found that nearly 40% of young people trust medical advice from social media influencers more than they trust the word of actual doctors and medical professionals. The result is a market worth more than $4 billion a year. And that leads us to today's reality, where arguably one of the biggest health influencers, RFK Jr., is in charge of running the Department of Health and Human Services.
All the folks that RFK and Trump are putting in there are making money from these alternative medicine and wellness products that we've been talking about. Casey Means and Callie Means, RFK's wife, Marty Makary, they all have their fingers in this cash cow called the wellness industry, right? And now they've come into power. The folks who are supposed to be protecting us from the alternative industry are now making money from that industry. It's sort of like the most naked form of corruption that you can imagine.
There's so many problems with the pharmaceutical industry, so many problems with the healthcare industry. I think that in many ways is what made Robert F. Kennedy Jr. so attractive, his Make America Healthy Again movement. He's right, we are more obese in this country than in other countries. We do have more hypertension and type 2 diabetes. It's true. I think all that's true. I don't think he's going to do one thing to make that better. I think all he's going to do is make vaccines less available, less affordable, and more feared, and cause children to suffer unnecessarily. That will be his legacy.
So what happens now? Where do we go from here? Vaccine rates are...
Well, at least he said it. He was like, I don't trust the pharmaceutical companies either. I was like, thank you. I don't trust any of these dogs. Eh? They're just profiting off you. Come on, man.
Down, the US is shattering measles records, and profiteers are running the institutions. Like a fever, we may just have to sweat it out.
Medical institutions need to undergo the sorts of reforms that they've been talking about for 50 years.
I hope they are suggesting here when they say medical institutions need to undergo reform, they're talking about, like, you know, making universal healthcare a thing. That'd be a good start. Eh? Having some type of protections and safeguard for people that do get sick so they don't have to turn to alternative medicines as a result of the fact that, like, you know, hey, if I don't look after myself, then I'm going to have to end up footing the bill. Some dramatic medical costs here.
Be more transparent. They need to be more accountable. They need to provide more access to the American public. That's a start. And we need to get corporate interests out of government decisions.
Yes.
People are going to declare their own truths, and they're not going to believe what they're told from scientists or clinicians. We'll pay a price for that. And it'll be a big price. And eventually, I think that as people realize what that price is, they'll come back to what has been so helpful for us.
Interesting. Very interesting. Will mean an increase in taxes, which is another invasion on your freedom. So, like, don't even go there. I hear you. Okay? No services. Let's provide no services to our population because that's just an increase in taxes. Let's go with the Friedman model, the neoliberal model, which is like provide no services. The government should absolutely do nothing, not even really regulate industry, maybe provide a military, maybe provide some services, maybe build some roads, but even that's a bit of a stretch. Tax people nothing and let the private industry figure it all out. Hey? There is plenty of waste in the Defense Department. Yes, but that's important to the capitalist machine, okay? That's what you spend taxes on because you don't want to privatize defense. Privatizing defense is a bad idea, okay? And, like, it's a black hole, the Department of Defense, isn't it? Because of the classified operations, let's say, you can throw money into that thing and have no transparency on where it's going, no recourse for ye old taxpayer. And then that means a lot of turnover for the capitalist system. You can throw heaps and heaps of money in there to produce heaps of stuff, and you can just blow it up or waste it. And then bang, 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 the capitalist machine has to keep turning stuff over. It's actually an ingenious system. It's military Keynesianism, actually, which is an actual old term. I thought it was just a new term because of the way that the Europeans are doing things, but military Keynesianism as a concept has been around actually for a while, surprisingly. Hundreds of millions of dollars unaccounted for. And over time, more than just hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Billions of dollars unaccounted for over time. And that's a vehicle for, I think, the capitalist machine on a global scale, not even just in the American sense, but it's the American taxpayer who foots the bill for it. But like other countries pay into the American system because, you know, the US dollar reigns supreme in terms of global economics and all, and everything feeds back into the empire. So like everybody pays a price technically for it. But yeah, the defense sector is so important to burn through capital, to destroy value. Value has to be destroyed or consumed. But if it can't be consumed, value has to be destroyed. So then you can justify another cycle and another cycle, another circulation of the system to ensure more profits can be made, and then can justify the same thing happening next year. But like, if there's no burner out there called the Pentagon, no big black hole to throw cash into, then capitalism may stall. Isn't it scary as well that like in order to maintain the capitalist system, not like exclusively, but like to a large extent, you need something like the Defense Department, the Department of Defense to burn through capital. 2024, the Department of Defense confirmed that the Pentagon failed its 7th consecutive audit and failed to give a full account for its $824 billion budget. Incredible, isn't it? Incredible. And like, if that doesn't tell you enough about how capitalism really works, like I guess not much else will. Hey? Like what a black hole, right? Hey? The audits, who cares? Accountability, transparency, it's for losers. Not in this economy. Open comp as too many CCs. Too many? You're getting banned too many times. Final CC, Trump is against AU PB scheme. Yes, as it undercuts US company profits. It does. Yeah, we negotiate as a nation to make sure we know. And Trump is against the AU PB scheme as it. Oh my God, you got CC many times on that one. Against, why is that a problem? Said America is against the universal health care due to taxes. So many CC on mobile today. Yeah, you're getting done. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Squeeb. You take the cake, I guess, then. You and Jag are up there today. You get the medal for the most censored comments. You bad human beings, you, hey, as judged by the algorithmic gods. What are we up to at the moment? Matt Bond, welcome to the stream. We have just gone through and done a very interesting assessment on Logan Paul and Prime, and how Prime has been used as this. Well, Prime has just been used as a vehicle to prey upon young children and eventually get some type of buyout through warped private equity and finance capital operations. But we looked at this as a case study in commodity fetishism, which I think was actually quite eye-opening to see how detached this idea of fetishism has become, you know, algorithmic salvation. That's what we call it now. How detached, like the real value of commodities has actually come in terms of the productive force of this mode of production. Like, it's just like there's no real link to the production of value anymore. It really is just like rich people or famous people pushing products because they produce said products and they just need a market. So they artificially manufacture markets for these goods that have absolutely no value. It's actually a logical conclusion or extreme to commodity fetishism that Karl Marx would never have imagined in his wildest dreams, to be honest. So we went through that. So we're about to wrap up now, actually. And so, like, if you want to see some of that investigation, go through and watch the live stream replay. And then we finished off with some interesting territory. We went into the alternative healthcare industry in America and how that's actually aligned with the right wing, fortunately or unfortunately. But like my real discussion point in all of this stuff is literally that, you know, alternative or traditional, big pharma, they're both preying on all of us to make their profits. And so, you know, we should be wary of any of their predatory behavior, to be honest. Had a proper double feature today. Yes, we did. We actually did have a double feature today, didn't we? Yeah, but it's all kind of related, I would say. So, thank you everybody for your interactions. It's been an interesting one, to say the least. Cheese Swiss, Squeeb89, Jag, Laughed Jeff. Good to see ya. Even a sneaky comment in there too, which is rare. I don't know, because you're usually working and lurking. 4IS in the house. Stephen Z in there for a little bit too. Good to see ya. And have I missed anyone? Volta Turk came in for a little bit. Jerry Poppins too, in and out, as he likes to do. And what have we got here on the stream chat? We had Avalava and Ninja. So yeah, thank you everyone for your interactions. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll probably do a Twitch stream tomorrow, and we'll do some more investigations. But yeah, same time, different place tomorrow, Twitch. And until next time, please remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery. Catch you all tomorrow. Cheers.